A young maiden transmigrates into a novel with heavenly beauty, so stunning she could drive any man to madness. She expects to thrive in this book's world, only to discover she's merely an unknown supporting character. Upon arrival, she encounters the unhinged villain, and despite possessing charms that could seduce any man, the villain shows no mercy. The system promised her resurrection in this fictional world, with noble status and unparalleled beauty, destined to become a pivotal character driving the plot. But after binding to the system, it immediately demands her death. How absurdly unfair. Having barely escaped from the villain alive, she believes she can surpass the original storyline and reach life's peak, armed with incomparable beauty and impeccable family background. Instead, she's forced to complete tasks, as the maiden must help the protagonists advance the plot toward the novel's perfect ending. Failure means losing her right to exist in this fictional world's epilogue. The maiden's role in the book is as the 17-year-old only daughter of Count Karen. This novel revolves around a fantasy romance with a curse theme. The first noble family, House Lassam, suffers from an Eastern black magic curse that transforms them into bloodthirsty monsters during moments of passion, uncontrollably killing their lovers. To find a solution, guided by the creation god, they begin searching for women immune to the curse. This person is the female protagonist of the book, and all conflicts revolve around this soul saint Trenti. Though the maiden possesses beauty surpassing the female lead, she's merely a nameless character destined to die at the beginning. Currently, the male lead has discovered the female protagonist's existence, and romance has sparked between them. But at House Lassam Duke's celebration banquet, the female lead sister Sasha discovers their relationship. Having admired the male lead for years, she plots against the female lead. She drugs both the male lead's half-brother Agus and the female lead. But a noblewoman accidentally takes the female lead's drink. Belle becomes the supporting character who replaces the female lead in the villain's bed. But Belle lacks the female lead's immunity to the curse. Now she faces an out-of-control villain, and despite her extraordinary beauty, the man's eyes remain cold. Tell me who's behind this, and I'll consider leaving your corpse intact. Belle is terrified but forces herself to remain calm. Agus assumes she's stunned by fear, surprised she doesn't beg for mercy. So beautiful, yet never seen in social circles before. Agus automatically assumes she's a woman with ulterior motives. Approaching Belle's beautiful face, Agus frowns. Not speaking? Are you ignoring me? Belle frantically tries to recall the original storyline about the Lassam curse, but the man's hand already grips her slender neck. As suffocation sets in, Belle finally remembers the relevant plot, and Agus is already burning with desire, licking his lips, his gaze growing increasingly heated. Since you can't provide useful information, serve your final purpose as my remedy. Agus's hoarse voice falls as his tongue touches Belle's pristine neck. Seeing him about to lose control, Belle doesn't want to die like this, so she takes a desperate gamble. Biting her lip, she musters courage to call Agus's name. I know how to suppress the curse. Hearing this, Agus pauses. What did you say? Explain clearly. His grip on the maiden tightens involuntarily. Belle tries to break free but can't move an inch. Please release me first. Belle remembers that in the original, the Lassam curse, when a person develops lust, would be accompanied by a craving for blood and an inability to control themselves. The cursed person bites their partner's neck like a beast during intercourse, drinking blood until death. The moment she gains freedom, Belle immediately distances herself from Agus, but her action displeases him. You understand the consequences of playing games with me? The man's voice is cold and bloodthirsty. Belle knows giving him enough blood is the only way to suppress the curse right now. Without hesitation, she takes a shard and cuts her wrist, raising her injured hand in pain. Giving you enough blood can suppress the curse on you, right? You hate women anyway. Agus becomes intrigued by her. I see you know quite a lot. Agus's mother discovered her husband's affair when he was young. Leaving a note of goodbye, she left her young child and ran away. Without his mother, he grew up amid gossip, eventually twisted to despise women to a horrifying degree. Agus approaches Belle, lifting her chin. Did the person behind you tell you this too? What else do you know? Tell me everything. What's your purpose in approaching me? Belle's beautiful eyes immediately well with tears. Whether you believe it or not, this is truly a misunderstanding. Agus stares at her tear-stained face in silence. You don't appear to be lying. He originally just wanted to scare her into revealing who was behind this, but she actually cut her own palm. He doesn't know if she's brave or reckless, but Belle feels incredibly wronged. Why must this troublesome system make her take the blame for the villainous? Unable to withstand Agus's pressure, she feels increasingly aggrieved, finally trembling as she indicates she knows who's responsible. In the original story, the villainous Sasha thought she had succeeded, so she led the male lead and nobles to catch them in the act, only to find Belle tortured to the brink of death until she completely expired. And Agus was despised by noble circles because of this incident. The Lassam Duke was furious and decided to reconsider Agus's qualification as heir, which is the beginning of the book's conflicts. Belle organizes her thoughts and tells Agus that Montbaton's Sasha will soon bring others to burst into this room. Agus doesn't recall any entanglement with this new noble family's young lady. He looks at Belle with suspicion. Why should I believe you? Belle righteously explains, once this scandal breaks, you'll lose your heir status. After speaking, Belle extends her hand. Please drink my blood and let me leave. Agus snorts coldly and undoes his necktie. Clever woman. Letting you go benefits me, does it? Yet he uses his necktie to bandage Belle's wound. His tone carries warning. If you're deceiving me, no matter where you hide, I will drag you back. Meanwhile, at the banquet, Sasha finds the male lead Hill, tearfully claiming her sister was taken away by a strange man. Seeing everyone rushing urgently toward the room, she covers her mouth with a malicious smile. The show is about to begin. Elsewhere, Belle is relieved to have survived, but now the drug begins taking effect, and her wrist wound aches. As her vision gradually blurs, Belle refuses to die this way. She sways, seeking help, but ultimately collapses from exhaustion. Before losing consciousness, she hears a gentle female voice. At this moment, all nobles arrive at Agus's door. The male lead Hill knocks urgently. The nobles behind begin whispering amongst themselves, shocked that someone dared kidnap a noblewoman at the banquet. Sasha hides her face with a folding fan, malice in her eyes. My dear sister, your good days are over. When knocking receives no response, Hill pushes the door open. Agus's gaze is exceptionally cold, insolent fool. Who permitted you to enter my room? Hill immediately demands he return the missing noblewoman. Yet Agus appears exceptionally calm. Baseless accusations justify your offense? Leave now, and I'll pretend nothing happened. Seeing him this way, Hill grows more concerned. If you've nothing to hide, let me search to be sure. Recalling the woman's words, Agus looks lazily at his good brother. This isn't a place for you to come and go as you please. Hill directly has people searched by force. Agus's gaze toward him grows increasingly cold. Hill, you'll pay for humiliating me. After ransacking the room, they find no clues. Sasha immediately looks panicked. Impossible? The drug worked, and the person was in Agus's room. Seeing nobles whispering amongst themselves, Hill roughly grabs Sasha's wrist while Sasha insists she definitely saw it. Agus has no patience for their drama. Are you satisfied now? Hill naturally suggests letting the matter drop, but not before warning Agus not to let him discover any evidence. But Agus won't let this go so easily. Breaking into my room rudely and expecting to leave unscathed, he rings a bell, instructing his steward Ashton to break the limbs of all servants who trespassed unauthorized and sell them in the slave market. These words immediately trigger pleas for mercy. Agus passes Hill with an elder's demeanor. Hill, my good brother, a brain is useful. I hope you remember to bring it next time. Agus's behavior terrifies the observing nobles. What a frightening man. The steward handles everything and approaches Agus for further instructions. Agus's gaze remains cold. Thoroughly investigate tonight's events. I want to know who that woman in my room was. Meanwhile, Belle has fallen into a nightmare about her tragic past life. Her mother accidentally became pregnant and was forced to marry her gambling-addicted father. At 6 months old, Belle cried incessantly while her parents argued constantly. From age 4, when she could remember, she grew up amid quarrels and blame. At 14, her father's drug addiction worsened, and her parents' relationship grew increasingly tense. At 16, her parents finally divorced, but Belle's tragic life didn't end there. At 24, she worked hard for a promotion to supervisor, only to be harassed at her company by her father's debt collectors. At 26, her boyfriend of 3 years broke up with her, all stemming from Belle's dysfunctional family. At 27, she finally found release. Belle died from overwork. How unfair life had been to her. Despite trying harder than anyone, she never experienced happiness. Awakening again, Belle finds herself lying on a soft bed. Staring at her injured palm, Belle becomes more aware of her rebirth. Now a nobleman's daughter who treated her wound. And where is this place? While pondering, a cute young girl's face suddenly appears before her. Wonderful! You're finally awake! Belle only remembers being rescued while unconscious. She raises weak eyes to thank the girl before her. The concern on the girl's face seems genuine. While unconscious, you suddenly stopped breathing, looking dead. So frightening. This triggers memories of Belle's past life. She had indeed considered ending it all. But she's no longer that unfortunate Belle. In this life, she'll live for herself. The girl suddenly leans closer, gently touching Belle's forehead. Forgive my rudeness. A moment later, her face blooms with a brilliant smile. Your temperature's normal, and your complexion has improved greatly. That's wonderful. The girl's face imprints deeply in Belle's heart. The first person to genuinely help and care for her since resurrection. She must repay this kindness someday. During their conversation, Belle discovers she's actually the female protagonist Heidi. As House Mountbatten's second daughter, she was fostered in the countryside since childhood for lacking magic. After her abilities awakened, she was brought back to the main house. House Mountbatten wants to use the female lead for an alliance marriage with House Lassomme. Compared to Sasha, the magical prodigy raised with a silver spoon, Heidi was like an ignored weed. Tonight was her first noble banquet, and uncomfortable with the setting, she left early. Heidi sincerely hopes to become friends with Belle, the only noble she can talk to. Just as Belle prepares to agree, the system suddenly interrupts, explaining that as a minor character, Belle's task is to create difficulties. Helping the protagonist group grow, becoming friends with the female lead would result in elimination. Belle's head suddenly spins. What an absurd setting. Eventually, she reluctantly rejects the female lead's request. Heidi is immediately devastated, hastily apologizing for her rudeness. Before Belle can speak, she flees toward the door. The system appeared this time to punish Belle for failing the task of sacrificing herself to the villain. For failing a task in the book world, Belle will have a precious item reclaimed by the system. Similarly, success brings random rewards. Belle can't help pouting. I have nothing important here. Suddenly, a maid hurriedly opens the door. Miss Belle, we finally found you. I regretfully inform you that your father, the Count, has passed away. Count Karen died from excessive drinking. Belle becomes the sole heir. Having never experienced fatherly love, she sheds not a tear at the funeral. Seeing this, people begin gossiping. They heard Count Karen adored his only daughter, yet she's so heartless. Everyone blames her lack of manners on her dancer mother. Belle has tried very hard. Though regretful, she truly struggles to connect with this strange father. But seeing his peaceful face, a bitter feeling rises within her. After a lifetime of loneliness in her previous world, she's lost her fictional father just after returning to life. In the original story, Belle's birth mother was a peerless dancer. Count Karen fell in love at first sight and quickly married her, but a year later when Belle was born, she died in childbirth. The Count fell into alcoholism afterward. Until Belle was 5, lacking parental guidance, she climbed a tree alone, fell into water and nearly drowned. Count Karen held her tiny body tightly as Belle whimpered, "Daddy, I'll be good. Please don't ignore me anymore." The Count awoke and began a new life. He carefully selected a new wife, but unlike the wicked stepmother trope, the stepmother adored Belle, their relationship like birth mother and daughter. Facing her father's passing, the stepmother embraces Belle, promising to care for her well. Just as Belle marvels at her good fortune, she stumbles upon her stepmother's affair with the steward. They're plotting to marry her off quickly, to seize the Count's property and title. Belle learns that 10 years of doting were all pretense. While shocked, her jewelry suddenly falls. Hearing the noise, the pair check outside. Belle quickly flees the scene, but her heart races with panic. It would be disastrous if discovered. In her hurry, she crashes into a solid wall of flesh. Belle feels her nose might break. Just as she's about to scold the person for not watching their path, she looks up to hear the villain's cold, familiar voice. "We meet again, Mist." Belle tries to escape, but the villain grabs her wrist. Agus roughly throws her inside a room, lifts the maiden's chin, his expression displeased. "Why run? Am I frightening?" Belle feels utterly unfortunate. First her father's death, then betrayed by her stepmother, now intercepted by the book's villain. Looking up, she meets the young man's cold eyes. Belle asks the system why August suddenly appears at her father's funeral when the original story shows no connection between the families. The system explains that storylines unrelated to the main plot are automatically omitted. For logical consistency, plots not detailed in the original story develop. In the original work 100 years ago, the royal family House Lassam and House Karen traveled together to expand the empire, earning vast wealth and solid friendship. Later, House Karen declined, and the families rarely interacted. Learning August is representing his father, Duke Lassam, to offer condolences, Belle finally relaxes. She thought he'd come to find her for that night's events. Agus's voice grows colder, playing mute again. "You seem to enjoy testing my patience, Miss Belle." Belle is surprised he knows her name. Agus suddenly draws closer, his attitude softening slightly. "I not only know your name, but also everything that happened that celebration night." Agus discovered Belle was someone else's scapegoat that night. Despite his misogyny, he strokes Belle's cheek. "Interestingly, you should have been unaware of everything. Yet upon waking, you immediately claimed House Montbaton's eldest daughter was behind it." Belle can't help but admire the villain's intelligence for quickly understanding everything. But when faced with his question about how she knew who was behind it, Belle has no explanation. Meanwhile, the funeral descends into chaos due to Belle's disappearance. Belle tries to speak but is silenced by the villain's hand over her lips. Agus's voice is cold and low. "Make a sound and you'll be buried with your father today." Belle trembles at his icy gaze. Unable to find Belle, the stepmother begins complaining about her not caring about her own father's funeral and how she'll manage the territory. The steward immediately flatters her, suggesting the young mistress is too young, and the territory should be managed by the lady instead. Belle never imagined her stepmother not only wanted to seize her title, but even coveted her territory. Agus can't help but laugh coldly. "It seems your stepmother has grand ambitions. The empire requires nobles to be at least 18 to inherit titles, and they must appear before the king witnessed by many nobles to swear allegiance, only then receiving the charter with the royal seal. When heirs are too young to handle responsibilities alone, family elders serve as regents to help manage territories. If the ambitious Lady Karen becomes regent, the outcome would be unimaginable." After searching all rooms without finding Belle, the stepmother asks about Lady Mia's room. Since Count Karen forbade anyone from entering Lady Mia's room while alive, the maids dared not enter. The stepmother immediately rages. "Don't you know who the mistress of the Count's mansion is now?" The maids immediately tremble in fear. With a hint of intimacy and flattery, the steward whispers, "Don't be angry with these blind servants. The Count was obsessed with Lady Mia in life, but now he's reunited with her underground. The entire Count's mansion is yours." The stepmother's ugly face is immediately revealed. "That man wasted my precious 15 years of youth over a dead whore. This debt must be repaid by his daughter." The steward pulls her into his arms. "Don't worry. I'll help you firmly control the Count's mansion. The most urgent matter now is to marry Belle off." However, all their words reach Belle's ears behind the door. Agus raises an eyebrow. "Looks like you're in quite a predicament." Belle, concerned their scandal might tarnish House Karen's reputation, immediately asks Agus to forget what he just heard. Agus seizes the opportunity to bargain. "If you honestly answer my earlier question, I might keep your secret." Belle never expected him to circle back and can only dryly tell him. She accidentally overheard Sasha's plan that night, and the poisoning was coincidental. Agus stops pressing and directly approaches Belle's face. Lady Mia is your birth mother. Belle freezes. What a topic change. Agus raises her chin, appraising her. I heard there was once a world-class dancer who captivated the noble circles. Countless aristocrats pursued her. You've inherited her beauty. He gently strokes Belle's cheek, causing her to blush. She quickly reacts, slapping his hand away. Please restrain yourself. Agus seems to see another person in her, his eyes growing complex. Since you accidentally helped me that night, I'll give you advice in return. He leans toward Belle's ear. The most beautiful flowers are often plucked first. After speaking, he turns to leave. Be careful. Miss Belle feels both embarrassed and annoyed. What a strange man. Visiting the cemetery to pay respects to her father, Belle's eyes show determination. Though not the Count's true daughter, she will protect the Count's territory. The stepmother stands behind Belle with fake consolation, shedding a few tears. Suddenly changing topics, she introduces a lady to Belle. It's Georgie's mother Catherine from the original story, well known in noble circles. As the queen's lady-in-waiting, she stepped over her mistress to become the emperor's most beloved concubine, bearing the emperor's only son Georgie, the male supporting character. Since then, her status rose through her son. She represents the royal family at the Count's funeral, showing the emperor's special favor, and her target is Belle. Catherine skillfully grasps Belle's hand with immediate praise. The stepmother exchanges business flattery with her. Belle watches wordlessly as these two morally bankrupt women discuss character. Thick skin is a skill. The stepmother again shifts topics to Belle, wanting her to marry Georgie. According to imperial law, if a female heir marries before inheriting her title, she forfeits her inheritance and title rights. The stepmother's scheme is brilliant, and Georgie dies by the male lead sword for treason in the original story. Belle would be crazy to marry him. Catherine smoothly produces an invitation to the king's birthday banquet, emphasizing Georgie will attend. The moment Belle touches the invitation, the king's birthday banquet main storyline activates. There are options, whether to attend. Belle recalls losing her father after the last failed task. Worried rejection might trigger something worse. While hesitating because she didn't choose within 10 seconds, the system automatically accepts the task, requiring Belle to confess to the male lead Hill at the king's birthday banquet in 7 days. Returning to the mansion, the steward hands Belle ledgers taller than a person, hoping to discourage her. They don't know Belle's soul comes from a modern workplace where overtime is routine. Since discovering her stepmother's plot, Belle has been seeking ways to inherit her title early. For underage nobles to inherit titles early, they must present the king with sufficiently precious gifts. But the Gaines territory faces fiscal deficit, and her father's inheritance is temporarily held by her stepmother, leaving Belle in a dilemma. Fortunately, the reward for completing this task is substantial. The system's shop function will unlock, meaning her cheat code is coming. But the male lead Hill is nearly as dangerous as the villain. Will confessing to him cost her life? The troublesome system remains calm? Probably not. The book world revolves around the protagonists, with villains, extras, and supporting characters driving the plot. Various roles exit after completing their predetermined performances, no longer participating in subsequent original storylines. As host resurrected as the extra character Karen Bell, you've changed the original story's inevitable death fate. She is the first character in the book to be eliminated due to a bug, so he will no longer be affected by the original work. In simple terms, the host now has a golden finger that prevents her from being killed by characters who have not left the original work. Belle's eyes immediately light up. Such a good deal? The protagonist group and villains can't harm her. Now she only needs to guard against characters like her stepmother plotting against her. Thinking of this, Belle immediately envisions her future. Since plot deaths don't affect her, she only needs to deal with her wicked stepmother to live happily in this world. While Belle struggles with the king's gift, Agus suddenly visits. According to etiquette, visitors should send a calling card in advance and receive a reply. Lord Agus. Belle clearly dislikes him, but Agus acts particularly familiar. It's fine, no need to specifically entertain me. Belle can only force a smile. One doesn't visit without cause. Does Lord Agus have important business with me? Fear of awkward silence. Agus sets down his teacup and beckons. I've come to repay a favor. Though Miss Belle claims disrupting Lady Mountbatten's plan was accidental, you helped me greatly. I dislike owing favors, so I brought a gift today. I hope Miss Belle enjoys it. Belle looks surprised at the exquisite box in the attendant's hand. In the original work to inherit House Lassam's leadership, Agus cultivated relationships with major guilds within and beyond the empire. His business spans the entire continent, truly wealthy, handsome, and elite. Such a luxurious box must contain valuable treasures. Belle's face shows anticipation, but sees only inexpensive honey inside. She can't even maintain her smile. Agus appears particularly serious. Is Miss Belle satisfied with this gift? Belle forcefully closes the lid, then can no longer contain herself. Are you mocking me? Agus stands stunned. You don't like it? It's honey. But Belle is especially angry, Lord Agus. If you came today just to ridicule me, please leave. Agus finds her reaction unexpected. What's wrong with this woman? The day before visiting, Agus discovered that though Count Karen appeared to neglect his duties, he secretly funded the Blood Purists. While actively supporting Agus's succession as House Lassam's leader, Agus mistakenly believed Belle was instructed by Count Karen that night, helping him avoid being framed, and refused to admit it to maintain distance. Learning Belle faced difficulties inheriting her title, lacking an appropriate gift for the king. August grows increasingly displeased. He intended to repay her father's favor with such a precious gift, yet she not only refuses but orders him to leave. Belle knows nothing of honey's value in this world, even complaining to the system that August brought such a thing to mock her. The system quickly waves its chubby hands. Host, this world differs from yours. Seasonings are scarce, and sweetness primarily comes from honey. Belle, angry moments ago, immediately feels embarrassed. In the original story, honey is extremely precious, valuable enough to be passed down as noble inheritance. Honey is hundreds of times more precious than gold or jewels. Lords even wage war over a jar of honey. Presenting honey to the king can directly earn a title, but now August stands, restraining his anger. It seems my gift doesn't please Miss Belle. Forgive my intrusion, allow me to bid farewell. Take this back, we're leaving? Belle panics. That's title-worthy honey. Wait, please stay, Lord August. But she steps on her dress hem, loses balance and falls directly onto the villain. Miss Belle, what does this mean? Can't bear to see me leave? On the other side, August had just arrived when the stepmother learned Belle received a jar of honey. Thinking of her attempt to present a gift at the king's birthday banquet to earn her title, the stepmother gnashes her teeth. Well, this girl truly underestimated me. When did she hook up with Houseless Sam's man? The steward quickly explains, Madam, you've monitored the young lady for so long without finding weakness. Recently, she only disappeared during the funeral. The stepmother's face darkens, no wonder that dancers spawn. Even the notorious woman-hater August is bewitched by her. Damn it, with Houseless Sam's interference, removing her from the game becomes much harder. The steward remains unperturbed, Madam. Calm yourself. There are still days before His Majesty's birthday banquet. I have a plan, he whispers in her ear, and the stepmother's face fills with satisfaction. Butler Foreman always has solutions. She approaches her maid with a gloomy expression, instructing her to arrange for the young lady to inspect the territory tomorrow to learn about estate management. The next day, when Belle pays respect to her stepmother, she hears her hypocritically say, Look at my beautiful daughter. Dressed like this, which noble lady could possibly compare to you? Seeing her blatant lies, Belle counters skillfully, Mother, you jest. Belle knows she cannot openly oppose her stepmother before inheriting the title. For the first territory inspection, the stepmother claims she cannot accompany Belle due to other matters. She instead sends Foreman, ostensibly as a companion but actually to monitor her. After Belle departs, the stepmother immediately changes her demeanor. Search the young lady's room thoroughly and find the honey, she orders. She then caresses her abdomen and mutters, Everyone in the Earl's mansion answers to me. That foolish girl thinks she can offer honey to inherit the title? How laughable! The entire genus territory will belong only to me and the child in my womb. Genus is located in the northern part of the empire, a remote small town with sparse population, cold climate, and rugged roads where few merchants come to do business. The territory's main income source is taxation, but with so few residents, the financial situation is far from optimistic. Genus faces a deficit, primarily due to insufficient tax revenue caused by the small population. Belle draws back the curtains to look at the town. Even if she successfully inherits the title, managing such a large territory will not be easy. She must plan carefully for the long term. These are Belle's initial conclusions from the accounts her stepmother provided. Suddenly, a commotion erupts ahead. A man has knocked over an elderly woman's vegetable basket. Old hag? Who told you to set up a stall here? Don't you know this is my spot? Though trembling, the elderly woman pleads, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I saw this space was empty. My granddaughter urgently needs money for medicine. Could you let me stay just for today? The man shows no mercy. No money means you should die. What illness? Get lost, don't waste my time. The old woman yields, I'm sorry, I'll leave right away. The man scoffs, even if you wanted to sell something, you should sell something valuable. Genus has plenty of sugar beets. Who do you think would buy them? As soon as he finishes speaking, Belle steps forward. The steward immediately tries to stop her. Young lady, such incidents happen daily. You shouldn't. But Belle walks past determinedly with a resolute gaze. Ma'am, let me help. I'd like to purchase all these sugar beets. The old woman is startled. All of them. Hearing this, the steward becomes anxious. Young lady, sugar beets are considered inferior food that would never appear on a noble's table. Belle gives him a piercing look. I told you to buy them. Who's the young lady here, you or me? Belle directly hands the old woman a gold coin, though the basket of beets is worth only 1 copper coin. The old woman is moved to tears. I don't have change for you. Belle clasps her hands together. No need for change. I hope your granddaughter recovers soon. Belle's gesture leaves the old woman speechless with gratitude. The system chides the host for her wasteful behavior. You can help one person today, but not everyone. Besides, your own finances are tight. No need to put on airs. Belle knows this all too well, but responds, I genuinely wanted to buy these sugar beets, not just to help others. In this world, the main source of sweetness is honey, which is more precious than gold. The genus territory, situated in the poor, remote northern region, has no other suitable industries for economic development, yet people here grow sugar beets on a large scale. Sugar beets have always been viewed as inferior food, but what they don't realize is that sugar beets can be processed into sugar. Belle's eyes sparkle with inspiration. I've found a way to both inherit the title and develop the territory's economy. Little does Belle know, her kind act was witnessed by the male lead, Hill. Is she the woman who escaped from Augus's room that night? Below, Belle suddenly feels a chill, sensing someone watching her. Looking up, she sees nothing. In the carriage, someone asks, "Lord Hill, won't you confirm with that young lady about what happened that night?" Hill removes his cloak. "No need. Since Agus presented evidence of Sasha framing Heidi right before me, it's likely true." Belle's innocent smile flashes before his eyes. "There's no need to drag an innocent girl into this just to confirm what I already know." Meanwhile, Belle tours the market streets of Gina's. Understanding the overall market situation, small as it may be, it has everything needed. The most common goods are inexpensive fruits and vegetables, black bread, and ale. Since Genus is inland, there's no seafood at the market. If she wants to develop Genus's economy, there are many business opportunities. But when Belle returns to the Karen household feeling accomplished, she hears her stepmother's angry voice. "Seize that thieving servant!" The poor maid is thrown roughly to the ground. "Young mistress, save me!" The stepmother changes her expression. "Belle, you're back." The scene before her makes Belle frown. "Mother, what happened?" "A dishonest servant sneaked into your room to steal something. I caught her red-handed and was about to punish her." The maid repeatedly denies it. "No, I didn't steal anything. The head maid told me to change your bedding. I took nothing." The stepmother ignores her explanation. Caught in the act and still denying it? "Guards, take her to the dungeon." Belle raises her hand. "Wait, mother. Can you tell me what she stole?" With a smug smile, the stepmother replies, "The honey that young Master Lassam sent yesterday. But don't worry, mother has kept it safe for you." Belle's expression darkens. "Safe? More like you've taken it for yourself." Yet she still smiles gratefully. "I see. Thank you, mother." So sending her to the territory today was to find the honey and prevent her from offering it to the king. What a deeply calculating stepmother. The maid weeps. "Young mistress, I've grown up with you and have always been loyal. I would never steal from you. I swear I've been wrongfully accused." Belle takes her stepmother's arm. "Mother, how do you plan to deal with her?" The stepmother glares viciously at the maid. "Naturally, I'll cut off those thieving hands as a warning to others." Belle pretends to hold her stepmother's hand affectionately. "But she stole my possession. Why not let me handle her?" Seeing her stepmother frown, Belle leans in, coaxing. "After all, you've always wanted me to learn to be independent." To maintain her facade as a caring mother, the stepmother grips her fist tightly. "Very well, but when dealing with servants who commit theft, you mustn't be soft." Once the stepmother leaves, Belle helps the maid up. "Stand up and speak." The maid's face is full of grievance. "I didn't steal anything. Please believe me." Belle wipes away her tears. "I know you're innocent, but sometimes truth is worthless. Understand? From today on, you need to leave the Earl's mansion for a while." Hearing this, the maid becomes sorrowful. "You're sending me away? You still don't believe I'm innocent? I promised Madame Mia I would take care of you. You can beat me or scold me, but please don't send me away." Belle is somewhat helpless. "It's not that I don't trust you, nor am I sending you away. I just want you to avoid trouble for now." She then whispers something in the maid's ear. "Do you understand now?" The maid worries about Belle's safety at the Karen house. Belle waves her hand reassuringly. "Don't worry. I have everything under control." The little system doesn't understand. "Host, since she was left by your birth mother, wouldn't it be better to keep her by your side to care for you?" Belle's eyes show unwillingness. "I can barely protect myself. If she stays in the Earl's mansion, she'll just be framed repeatedly like today." "Why do you think the stepmother targeted her? She's actually coming after me. When I finally take my position, the servants in this house will need to be completely replaced. If only I had the female lead storyline, life would be smooth sailing, without all this scheming and intrigue." At the Montbaton family mansion, Sasha is throwing a tantrum in her room because her scheme against Heidi has been exposed. When Lady Montbaton enters, she asks, "Why are you angry again? Ever since your sister returned, you've been losing your temper every other day." Sasha's face darkens. She was doing fine in the countryside. Why did father bring her back? If not for her, Hill wouldn't have quarreled with me, and father wouldn't have confined me to the house. Lady Mountbatten sits down. "She is your sister after all. Your father was naturally angry when he learned you framed her." "You were in the wrong, still unrepentant," Sasha retorts. "I'm not wrong. I don't have such a sister." "Mother, her existence only brings shame to our family. The noble ladies all mock her for not knowing etiquette. She's just a country bumpkin." Lady Mountbatten strokes her hand. "Don't worry, you're still your father's and my most beloved daughter. Heidi's return is only to help your father keep the Assam family in check. You know her physique is different from others." All of this is overheard by Heidi standing outside the door. "But I like Hill too, mother. She can't steal the man I like." Lady Mountbatten becomes more serious. "Foolish girl, Hill is just a pawn on your father's chessboard. Don't waste your time on such a man. Remember, you're different from your sister. She's worthless and can only serve as a marriage tool for the family. You're different. With your magical talent, you're destined to shake the empire. You will become the empire's most noble princess. Heidi's hand holding the tray trembles weakly. Mother, sister. Meanwhile, Belle has begun her business venture. She's not only harvested a large quantity of sugar beets from the farm, but also acquired yellow, muddy water from the slums. The maids complain she's wearing out the servants. The stepmother silences the maids' idle gossip, but can't hide her concern. Recently, that girl Belle has been acting mysterious. Since the Earl's funeral, I find her increasingly unpredictable. The steward grasps her hand. Don't worry, my lady. With less than 2 days until the king's birthday banquet, even if Miss Belle can't produce anything impressive for the king, her schemes won't cause any waves. Meanwhile, Belle is toiling away in the kitchen. Lolo, do you know how white sugar is made? The system proudly responds. Of course. This system is equipped with the latest comprehensive knowledge. Traditional sugar making uses sugarcane or sugar beets as raw materials, boiling them to extract syrup. After filtering through yellow mud water, white sugar is finally obtained. I didn't expect the host, at such a young age, to know traditional sugar-making methods. Belle smiles lightly. I've only seen it in books. This is my first attempt at it. Hearing this, the system is alarmed. What if you fail? Belle is unconcerned. Failure is the mother of success. Taking the first step gives us a chance to succeed. After multiple experiments, Belle finally refines white sugar. If I offer this to the king, the title will be mine. Finally, the day of the king's birthday banquet arrives. Belle dislikes how the royal court openly classifies guests by rank. When the Mountbatten family's carriage arrives, the king personally comes to welcome them. Meanwhile, Belle and her stepmother can't even approach the main entrance. They must use the side door. The king's birthday banquet is the largest and most prestigious social event of the year. After entering the palace, people seize the opportunity to associate with those of higher status. Networking with more nobles is the ultimate purpose of this evening. Only after her stepmother leaves does Belle gain freedom to move about. As the system praises the liveliness of the banquet, Belle's gaze becomes distant. Despite these people appearing to be gentlemen and ladies getting along harmoniously, nobles actually prefer to form cliques. The nobility is roughly divided into two factions, the traditionalists who value bloodlines, and the new elite who value power. Regardless of faction, the more powerful one is, the more sycophants one attracts at such gatherings. The system urges Belle to complete her task, but she finds a secluded spot to rest, claiming it's convenient for observing the male lead's position. The system seriously doubts she's being lazy, wondering how she can confess to the male lead in a place without even a male mosquito. Suddenly, Belle overhears an intense argument. Who allowed you to come here? Do you know what kind of occasion this is? How dare you come? Father sent me. Sister, why are you always so aggressive? Aren't we sisters? Sasha directly pours red wine on Heidi's dress. Whose sister's with you? Go back to your countryside and stop embarrassing yourself. Belle only wanted to be lazy, never expecting to witness a dramatic confrontation between fake sisters. Sister, don't go too far. This is the palace. If we cause a disturbance and embarrass father, he will surely punish you. Mentioning their father makes Sasha angrier. Stop using father to pressure me. Father is only temporarily blinded by you. He'll soon realize that a country girl like you can't help the family at all. Duke Mountbatten is the father of female lead Heidi and rival sister Sasha. He holds a political position in the empire equal to that of Duke Lassam. The Mountbatten family is one of the few noble families that cultivates mages. The empire has strict restrictions on magic use, but magic remains an important standard for measuring a family's strength. Sasha cups Heidi's face with a superior attitude. I am the mage that the Mountbatten family is focusing on cultivating. Even if I beat you up here today, father wouldn't do anything to me. Heidi throws off her hand. You wouldn't dare! Just as she finishes speaking, they hear a clear slap. Belle awkwardly holds up a mosquito in her hand. A mosquito bit me. The two who heard the voice looked at Belle in unison. Belle can only awkwardly stand up and greet the female lead. The rival sister Sasha is surprised that her country sister actually knows a noble lady. Most embarrassing is that the system detects the male lead will appear. Belle's eyes immediately blaze with fierce determination. The male lead is coming! Isn't a sisterly showdown exciting enough? Is the male lead coming to add fuel to the fire? But she forgets her task of confessing to the male lead until the system reminds her. Belle's face instantly turns green. You want me to confess to the male lead in this situation? Have you considered that the female lead and her rival might kill me on the spot? When the system warns she can refuse the task and accept punishment, Belle changes her attitude in a second. Suddenly, I really want to confess. I can't wait anymore. At this moment, the male lead is walking tenderly toward the female lead. Go immediately and confess to the male lead. Belle weakly begins. Wait a moment. Seeing the system's confusion, Belle looks at the three people before her and forces a smile. You'll know soon enough. Seeing Hill coming, Sasha immediately hugged his arm like a crazy fan. Why are you here? But Hill shakes her off and walks straight to Heidi. What happened? Why do you look like this? Sasha gives Heidi no chance to speak. Let me explain. Heidi accidentally bumped into a maid carrying wine, staining her dress. I was just about to take her to change. Heidi doesn't understand why her sister is distorting the facts. Perhaps she doesn't dare reveal her true nature in front of Lord Hill. Hill looks at Heidi. Is that true? Sasha directly places her hand on Heidi's shoulder. Of course it's true. Would I bully my own sister in public? That would be embarrassing if word got out. Thinking that arguing with her would embarrass their father? Heidi suppresses her grievances and forces a smile. It's nothing, Lord Hill. Just a small accident. I don't need my sister to accompany me to change clothes. I can manage on my own. Hearing this, Sasha immediately takes Hill's arm to assert her claim. I need to discuss something with Lord Hill. You go ahead. Heidi turns away, suppressing the sourness in her heart. Hill wants to call out to her, but in the end, he only stares at her retreating figure with clenched fists. The system watched the show for a long time, then remembered that there was a host. Everyone had left, so did you want to start working? He turned around but was stunned. He saw that Belle had disappeared. Meanwhile, Heidi discovers someone following her. Turning around, she finds it's Belle. Miss Belle, why are you sneaking behind me? Belle laughs awkwardly. You caught me? Sadness makes a beautiful person even more pitiful. Are you here to laugh at me? You saw me and my sister. Belle hurriedly waves her hands. I'm not here to mock you. I was just a bit worried, so I followed to check on you. The gloom on Heidi's face instantly vanishes. I see. You're truly a considerate person. Looking at the girl's cute and innocent smile, Belle's heart cannot help but race. Considerate? Before her transmigration, many people had described her with this word, but someone who could see through her false exterior. She was the first, unfortunately, to survive. Belle cannot become friends with the female lead. In the original story, the male lead had planned to invite the female lead to dance at the king's banquet. But because the rival sister had stained the female lead's dress, she couldn't attend. At the banquet, the rival sister Sasha was socially adept and greatly pleased the emperor. In contrast, the country-bred female lead appeared even more out of place, becoming overnight the laughingstock of the Montbaton family. As a supporting character, Belle's principle is to advance the plot without affecting the main storyline. An idea forms in her mind. I can't let my benefactor be bullied. Heidi must attend the banquet smoothly. Belle grabs Heidi's wrist. At this moment, the main antagonist is having people search everywhere for Belle, but he can't find her anywhere in the banquet. He asks Lady Karen about her whereabouts. That lady has already arrived and has been accompanying Lady Arundel. Agus stops inquiring and continues his surveillance. Report to me immediately if there's any news of Belle. The steward looks confused. Strange, since when did Lord Agus start paying attention to noble ladies? Has he finally come to his senses? In the restroom, Belle dominantly pins the female lead against the wall. Heidi's flushed face shows a hint of anticipation. Miss Belle, what are you doing? Belle raises an eyebrow. Don't ask questions. Take off your clothes. She changes into the female lead's stained dress. Her actions can both prevent the rival sister from shining and ruin her own matchmaking. Seeing Belle return in such a disheveled state, the stepmother's face turns green. Belle, why are you in this state? Where is your dress? Belle looks troubled. Mother, there was a small accident. Please don't ask. The stepmother appears exasperated. But that dress was custom-made specifically for today's banquet. Never mind, time is short and the banquet is about to begin. There's a spare dress in the carriage, go change quickly. As Belle leaves, the stepmother increasingly finds her incomprehensible. What was she doing? If Lord Arundel sees her like this, the marriage alliance will be completely ruined. The troublemaking system looks confused. Today is an important plot point, don't mess it up. After all, with the male and female leads and the antagonist all gathered together, just think about it. A grand showdown. Suddenly, voices stop Belle in her tracks. Hey! See how arrogant Agus looks? Disgusting. If Duke Lassam weren't wary of the magic tower, he would have long removed Agus from the heir position. Wasn't it said that since Madame Emma disappeared, the magic tower cut ties with the Lassam family? In the original story, Madame Emma was the birth mother of the antagonist Agus and the younger sister of the magic tower lord. After discovering Duke Lassam's affair, she left home and has been missing for 10 years. In the struggle for the Lassam family headship, the Duke wants his younger son Hill to inherit. But with the magic tower's intervention, he has to remain impartial. As the first great noble family of the Charlemagne Empire, there are countless families trying to ally with or discredit the Lassam family. Who will be the head of the family is a hot topic in the aristocratic circle today. Clearly, these two nobles are not Agus's supporters. Agus stares in the direction of Belle's eavesdropping. The steward's voice comes from behind. Lord Agus, should we deal with those two immediately? Agus gestures lightly. After the banquet, don't trouble his majesty. The two nobles' comments become increasingly unrestrained. Do you think his mother ran off with another man? If Duke Lassam really wanted to pass the family headship to him, he wouldn't have had a second son at all. Agus is just a poor wretch abandoned by his mother and despised by his father. Listening to their laughter, Belle's fist hardens. She hates people who criticize others behind their backs. Memories from her previous life flood back. Hey, did you know? Belle's parents divorced. I heard her mother ran off with another man. Is that true? The manager got dumped. That man's family didn't approve. That's just an excuse. Dating for 3 years without marriage? I bet there was a mistress. See how domineering she acts? But no man wants her. People often say language is a bridge for communication, but it's also the sharpest weapon in the world, capable of hurting people invisibly. Belle can no longer tolerate it. Hey, you two, shut up! The two immediately fall silent as Belle's anger continues to rise. Are you two orphans sprung from a rock crevice? Otherwise, how could you speak such insulting words about someone else's mother? Look at your shameless faces. How dare you embarrass yourselves at His Majesty's banquet? Having been scolded by a stranger, the woman can't maintain her composure. Who are you? We're insulting Aegis. What business is it of yours? What are you to him? Belle stands righteous. My name is Belle Karen, unchanged and true. I'm nothing to him. I simply can't stand your behavior. Aegis looks at Belle with complex emotions. Since childhood, he'd been called a bastard, motherless, and bullied until covered in bruises. His father would only reprimand him without asking for reasons. Fighting again? As the heir of the Lassam family, you disappoint me deeply. I have no such son. From then on, Aegis understood that no one in this world would shield him from wind and rain. He could rely only on himself. Why would Belle Karen speak up for him? You should apologize to Aegis. The girl's voice carries genuine anger. So it's the fallen Karen family, meddling in others' affairs, helping Aegis like this. Don't tell me you've fallen for him. Don't get your hopes up. Even though Aegis is still a potential heir to the Lassam family, you want to marry him? Wait until he's expelled from the family. Faced with their mockery, Aegis steps forward first. I'm sorry to disappoint you both, but that day will never come. Seeing Aegis, the two previously spirited nobles instantly become cowards. I just remembered I have something to attend to. I'm with him. With that, the two flee without looking back. Belle makes a face at them. Two cowards who only bully the weak and fear the strong. Miss Belle! The antagonist's cold voice reaches her. Belle's body stiffens. What is it? Could the antagonist be upset at her meddling and want to take it out on her? August suddenly moves closer, his handsome face showing no emotion yet revealing a hint of expectation. So you have feelings for me? This direct question almost makes Belle lose control of her expression. What nonsense is he talking about? Before she can speak, the antagonist continues his overconfident statement. I can't think of a more convincing reason to explain your behavior just now. Belle is truly speechless but has to contain her emotions. Aegis, sir, I think you've misunderstood. I scolded those two people simply because I couldn't stand their behavior. It has nothing to do with you personally. Hearing this, the antagonist's body instantly turns cold. So you mean you don't have feelings for me? Romance with the antagonist? Belle knows she hasn't lived long enough for such complications. She immediately earnestly swears, that's right. I swear to heaven, I have absolutely no feelings for you whatsoever. Not even a tiny bit. After saying this, she doesn't even dare to look at the antagonist's expression. The banquet is about to begin. I must take my leave. Aegis stares at her, retreating back without a word. Why does knowing the truth make his heart feel blocked? The system starts to gloat. That's what you get for talking recklessly. Don't you know how cowardly you look running away? Belle truly feels intimidated. One should never provoke the main antagonist. At this moment, the female lead and male lead are developing their relationship nicely. Lord Hill, I'm sorry. Although my etiquette teacher taught me diligently, this is my first time dancing in a formal setting, so I might not be very practiced. Hill looks at Heidi with doting eyes. It's all right, just follow my lead, I will guide you. Don't worry. Heidi blushes immediately. Lord Hill is so gentle. An image of Belle's face unconsciously appears in her mind. That person is also, wear my dress and attend the ball. Don't miss it. Don't misunderstand, I'm not trying to court you but repaying you for helping me before. Although Heidi is clumsy and often realizes things belatedly, her intuition about good people has never failed since childhood. Miss Belle is a good person. Sasha looks up and sees the two in the center of the dance floor. She nearly grinds her teeth to powder. Why do Father and Hill dance the first dance with that woman? What right does she have? While the male and female leads are engrossed in each other, the system untimely reminds Belle to confess. If you fail again, be prepared to accept punishment. Belle clenches her fist. Don't worry. Once this dance ends, I'll seize the opportunity to rush up and confess passionately. Let the female lead witness the male lead's extraordinary charm in the supporting character circle. But Belle feels some sympathy for the female lead because from a reader's perspective, male lead Hill only developed feelings for Heidi after being saved by her when injured, subsequently discovering her Saint Tranty identity. The female lead gives her heart genuinely to the male lead, but his love is mixed with self-interest. If she ever learns she's just a pawn in the male lead's game against the antagonist, won't she feel heartbroken? The system thinks Belle is being narrow-minded. After all, as the novel's female lead, she's blessed with many halos. Countless handsome men would sacrifice themselves for her. She's the darling of fate. No matter the process, the ending will surely be happy. But in Belle's view, not every woman in life has the female lead's halo. Rather than depending on men for protection, it's better to strengthen oneself and become the master of one's own fate. Now the dance has ended. The system urges, host, stop daydreaming. The time has come. Quickly go confess to the male lead. Belle had just clenched her fist preparing to act. When she heard His Majesty the King has arrived, everyone at the banquet stopped moving, all attention focused on the king. While raising glasses to say long live, the system couldn't hold back. Host, why are you just standing there? Hurry up and confess! Belle panicked. In the original story, the king only appeared briefly at the beginning of the birthday banquet. There was no subsequent plot related to him. If she doesn't take this opportunity to offer sugar to the king, her stepmother will regain control of the situation. Belle is torn. Should she offer sugar to the king or confess to the male lead? At this moment, the male and female leads are still engrossed in each other. You danced very well. You have talent for dancing. Being praised by her love interest, Heidi immediately blushes. Not at all. It's thanks to you that I didn't make a fool of myself. But Hill looks worried. I need to leave for something important. Can you handle the banquet by yourself? Even though Heidi says it's fine, Hill's concern doesn't diminish. You're new to social circles. If any nobles offend you, mention your father Duke Mountbatten's name. They wouldn't dare to misbehave. In the Empire, your father's status is second only to the king, the only one who can stand as an equal to Lassam. At the mention of her father, Heidi freezes momentarily. That night, she overheard a shocking conversation outside her sister's room. Mother, are you saying father wants to commit treason? Shh. This cannot be spoken of outside. Just between us. Once your sister marries Hill and helps him become the head of Lassam, it will be the perfect opportunity for your father to seize power. Regarding her father's plan to use Hill to become king, Heidi doesn't know what to do. Although she likes Hill very much, she can't betray her father and family. If only she had a trustworthy friend to consult with. Belle's face unconsciously appears in her mind. Meanwhile, Belle has finally made up her mind. She directly calls out to Hill, who is about to leave. Lord Hill, may I take a moment of your time? Heidi is somewhat surprised. Hill remembers she is that kind girl. Miss, do we know each other? What can I do for you? Belle displays a sweet smile. I like you. Hill is stunned. This is only their second meeting, yet she confesses without hesitation. No one is more shocked than the female lead Heidi. Miss Belle actually likes Lord Hill? The system detects the female lead's wavering heart and begins to cheer for Belle. Hill, however, maintains a cold expression. So what? Belle states in an extremely casual tone, shocking everyone present. Would you marry me? The scene causes nobles to whisper among themselves. The male lead is even more shocked. What? Does she know what she's saying? Belle only wants to shake the female lead's resolve, but she never expected Heidi to be full of admiration instead. Wow, Miss Belle actually proposed in public. How brave. Belle boldly takes Hill's hand. Lord Hill, I like you. I want to become your wife. Is that possible? Predictably, he should reject her immediately. Staring at Belle's face, the male lead is frozen in place. From childhood, as a member of the Lassam family with his mother, his status has been extremely awkward. His father, Duke Lassam, fell in love with his mother and had him while still married to Lady Emma. Most nobles view him as illegitimate and look down on him. Traditionalists believe his bloodline is impure, unworthy of becoming the next head of the Lassam family. All this is due to his father's inaction. Many noble ladies who like him hesitate because of his status. No one has ever come before him and proclaimed like so loudly. Could it be that because the Karen family has fallen on hard times, no one taught her etiquette, making her behavior so rude? Hill looks up at Heidi. He thinks to himself that she is far inferior to the girl he likes. Heidi is so genuine and innocent. I'm sorry, I can't marry you. Having finally completed the system's task, Belle maintains good manners to stay in character. Very well, thank you for your response. PXN. The sudden English confuses both the male lead and the system. What does that mean? Belle explains with a smile. It describes a very confident man. I'm complimenting him. The male lead suspects she's insulting him but has no proof. At this moment, the butler runs to the stepmother. Madam, we've found the young lady. She's with the Lassam young master. The stepmother immediately becomes displeased. Agus? Him again? The butler breaks into a cold sweat. No. It's the second son of the Lassam family, Hill. When did she get to know Hill? Doesn't she have feelings for Agus? To this question, the butler can only explain with two timing. The stepmother's face grows increasingly dark. She wouldn't dare. Moving between those two would be like dancing on a tightrope. Belle's task is finally complete, but unfortunately, she can only activate the reward when she gets home. Belle feels for the first time that a task was so simple. However, news of her proposal quickly reaches the antagonist. What? Belle Karen proposed to Hill? Agus immediately crushes his glass. After receiving confirmation from his butler, his expression grows increasingly unpleasant. So her reason for not liking me is because she fell for Hill. And of all people, my sworn enemy. Is she mocking me? Does she think I'm inferior to that fellow Hill? The butler anxiously wipes cold sweat from his brow. Perhaps there's some misunderstanding. Today should be Miss Belle's first time meeting Lord Hill. This answer makes Agus's expression even worse. So you're saying, not only does she like Hill, but she fell for him at first sight? Meanwhile, the female supporting character Sasha is wondering who the woman talking to Hill is. A noblewoman beside her eagerly gossips. She seems to be the Karen family's daughter. Why would she know Hill? The noblewoman whispers in Sasha's ear. I don't know. I heard the Earl Karen just passed away, and she's the only heir left. The economy of Gina's territory seems rather poor. Could she be trying to attach herself to the Lassam family? Sasha responds haughtily. Her? Isn't one Heidi enough? Now another daydreamer comes along. Before Belle can dismiss the male lead, a male servant approaches her directly. Miss Belle, my lady requests your presence. Who is your lady? Upon learning it's Sasha from the Mountbatten family, Belle looks confused. Belle was confused. Why did the female supporting role come to me? The system said that it probably saw Belle with the male lead and wanted to warn her. Before Belle can answer, Heidi directly grasps her hands. Miss Belle, let me go with you! My sister likes Mr. Hill so much. If my sister knows you just proposed to Lord Hill, she will certainly make things difficult for you. But Belle flashes a brilliant smile. Thank you for your kindness, Miss Heidi, but that won't be necessary. The female lead should stay and develop feelings with the male lead. Don't waste your first confession in this world. In the original novel, the male lead Hill has a duplicitous personality, moving between the Mountbatten sisters to confuse Auguste and avoid exposing his true love interest. Though merely a tool used by the male lead to divert the antagonist's attention, Sasha firmly believes she and Hill share true love and is hostile toward anyone trying to approach him. Going to meet her would likely mean trouble. Thinking of this, Belle decisively refuses the servant. I'm sorry, please tell your lady that I'm a bit busy. We'll meet another day. Whoever wants to go can go. She's just a passerby, and besides completing tasks and following the plot, there's no need to voluntarily seek humiliation. Currently, presenting sugar to the king to obtain a noble title is the most important matter. But Sasha is not easily dismissed. I wonder what Miss Belle is busy with. Is there anything I can help with? Belle didn't expect her to approach directly. Can't you just stay away from me? Finally, she has a bright idea. Does Miss Mountbatten really want to help me? Sasha maintains her haughty expression. Of course, just ask. As long as I prove you're a good-for-nothing beauty, even if exceptionally beautiful, Hill won't give you a second glance. While Sasha remains confident, Belle suddenly grasps her hand. Then I'm truly grateful. Actually, I came to this banquet today because my family arranged for me to meet a potential match. She pretends to shed a few tears. In a while, my stepmother will take me to meet the gentleman. If Miss Sasha could go in my place, that would be wonderful. Hearing this, Sasha freezes in place. Meanwhile, Hill's face shows a hint of grievance. An arranged match? So she has an ideal marriage partner in mind. Then why provoke me? After a moment, Sasha raises her fan, looking embarrassed. I'm afraid I can't substitute for you in such an important life matter. May I ask which family's son you're meeting? Internally, she decides to help arrange the marriage to prevent Belle from coveting Hill. Belle is about to answer when she suddenly remembers that Georgie, the male supporting character in the novel, is Sasha's devoted follower. If she mentions him, would the female supporting character explode on the spot? As she hesitates, the antagonist walks straight toward Belle. Her match is with me. Belle is stunned. Why has the antagonist shown up too? Hill looks at Auguste in shock. How did he appear here? Doesn't he usually dislike such noisy environments? The antagonist, disregarding others' opinions, grabs Belle's hand to leave. Come with me. Belle panics. Where are you taking me? The competitive spirit drives Hill to grab Belle's wrist. Wait, Belle is caught between the antagonist pulling her forward and the male lead grabbing her from behind. What's going on? Hill looks directly at Belle. Didn't you say you liked me? Would you like to be my companion today? What an absolute dramatic confrontation. The male lead and antagonist are fighting over a mere background character who isn't even a female supporting character. Even more absurd is Heidi's admiring gaze. What's that about? Come with me. Stay. Their intense gazes make Belle feel pressured. What should I do now? The system expresses helplessness. You can't break character. Your task is still being processed. Don't mess it up. Such an unhelpful system. Belle really appreciates the reminder. Well, she'll go all in. Belle finally chooses to offend the antagonist. Lord Agus, please let me go. The usually cold and proud antagonist reveals a hurt expression. What? She actually rejected him for Hill. Hill smugly draws Belle into his arms. Brother, she's my companion. Where did you want to take her? Agus's expression is extremely unpleasant. Belle Karen, are you sure you won't come with me? Belle has never heard the antagonist use such a gloomy tone before. She's panicking inside. Help, I'm just a passerby. Why am I caught between the male lead and the antagonist? I like Lord Hill. I won't go. As soon as these insincere words fall, the antagonist suddenly moves closer. What do you see in him? Hill, with an attitude that only makes matters worse, says, I'd like to know too. You said you liked me, right? Tell him what you like about me. Belle dies of embarrassment on the spot. Help. This is an impossible question. In this scenario, the female lead doesn't show jealousy but instead worries about Belle's predicament, as she seems very troubled. Most indignant of all is the female supporting character Sasha. How infuriating. A good-for-nothing woman has attracted the attention of both heirs. Seeing their determination, Belle finally sighs. Is it so hard to compliment someone? What's the big deal? Lord Hill is tall and handsome, clever and capable, talented and accomplished. I like everything about him. She maintains her love-struck image, wondering if the male lead is satisfied with this answer. Hearing her words, Augus's expression becomes even more difficult. Belle Karen, so you're the kind of person who values these things? I thought you were different from others. Augus's eyes are full of disappointment. Ever since that woman appeared and gave birth to Hill, his life has been completely overturned. Even though he is the legitimate heir to the Lassam family, his father has given all his love to Hill, despite trying so hard from childhood. Which aspect isn't he excellent enough in? Everyone likes Hill. Belle stares at the antagonist with concern. System, shouldn't you check on the antagonist? His fist is clenched. Hill can't resist taunting. Did you hear that, brother? You can't force unripe fruit. Since Belle doesn't like you, you shouldn't persist. Belle inwardly fumes. The male lead is such a jerk. He's completely different from how he acts with Heidi. In the novel, apart from the female lead Heidi, all other women are tools for the male lead. He uses these women as shields for Heidi, approaching and using them, but never giving them love because his only tenderness is reserved for Heidi. In comparison, the antagonist August is much more likable. At least he never relies on any woman because he suffers from severe misogyny. At this moment, Agus's gaze toward Hill is bloodthirsty and cold. Hill, Lassam, are you deliberately provoking me? Hill, however, smiles and waves dismissively. I just want my brother to face reality. Don't force a lady. Agus laughs coldly and looks at Belle. I'll ask you one more time. Are you coming with me? After all, Hill's unclear relationship with the Montbaton's sisters means she'll eventually get hurt if she wades into this mess. How absurd. Why should he care about her business? It's so unlike him. Agus's words put Belle in another difficult position. Someone, anyone, please save me. Just then, a voice comes from behind. Belle, there you are. The stepmother arrives at the perfect moment. I sent you to meet your match. What are you doing here? This is the first time since her transmigration that Belle has been grateful for her wicked stepmother's timely intervention. On the way, the stepmother says, stay away from the two sons of the Lassam family. Do you understand? The Lassam family is different from other families. Marrying into it might cost you your life. Mother is looking out for you. Belle pretends to be obedient. I understand, Mother. It was just a misunderstanding earlier. Fortunately, the stepmother arrived in time to remove her from the dramatic confrontation, or she wouldn't have known how to end it. The stepmother takes Belle's hands, feigning kindness. Belle, you're about to meet with Marquis Arundel. You must be careful with your words and actions. The royal court currently has no legitimate heir, and His Majesty the King only has one son through the Marquis Arundel. If you can marry him, you'll become the crown princess of the empire. Understand? Belle outwardly agrees but inwardly scoffs. What a beautiful dream. Tonight definitely won't be a simple arranged meeting. Opening the door, the stepmother immediately shows respect. We've kept you waiting, Lord Marquis, madam. Catherine, however, is courteous to the stepmother. Listen to yourself, madam. After all, we're waiting for the future Marchioness. This little time is nothing. We meet again, Miss Belle? Belle displays a proper smile. Madam, you're still as radiant as ever. A simple compliment makes Catherine happy. Oh my, aren't you sweet? Come, let me introduce you to my son. Georgie walks over very gentlemanly. Pleased to meet you. I am Georgie Arundel. Catherine directly takes Georgie's arm. See? Mother didn't lie to you. Miss Belle has such a lovely face. Georgie doesn't spare his praise. Indeed, Mother. Miss Belle is as beautiful as a spring rose. The stepmother quickly interjects. I'm sorry to embarrass you. Belle truly is the most beautiful girl in our family, but her studies are poor. Unlike the talented Marquis Arundel, Belle coldly watches their performance. These people wish she were stupid. Belle knows well that as the ambitious royal concubine, why would Catherine be content to let her son marry into the declining Karen family? She's merely finding an excuse to present Belle to the king. In the original novel, the king is fond of beautiful women. In his early years, he had an affair with the queen's personal maid, causing a rift with the queen. To revenge herself on the king, the queen refused to go to the temple to divorce him, shattering the dreams of those small-time concubines who wished to rise in status. This included the king's most favored concubine, Arundel. Over the years, seeing her beauty fade, in order to stabilize the king's heart, Lady Arundel pretended to be choosing a marriage partner for her son, but in fact she was looking for beautiful women to serve as chess pieces to the king in order to consolidate her position. She's truly ruthless, willing to betray her master and use her son for power. Belle's situation is precarious, but she remains calm and plans to turn the tables. They want to use Belle's beauty to approach the king, and Belle can take this opportunity to present sugar to the king, letting them taste their own medicine. Catherine finally decides to get to the point. Georgie, I have some matters to discuss with Mrs. Karen. Could you show Miss Belle around? As soon as they leave the palace, Georgie begins a familiar conversation. Since this is our first meeting, we can get to know each other. What does Miss Belle like most? Belle is direct. I like money. Lots and lots of money. After all, money makes people happy. Men only slow down how quickly I can make money. While Georgie verbally praises Belle's practicality, his eyes are full of disdain. This woman is indeed as his mother described, a beautiful shell with a vulgar and stupid interior. What does the Marquis like? Belle's voice comes from behind. He collects his thoughts. I enjoy collecting paintings in my daily life. Belle shows a look of understanding. Of course. In the original novel, the male supporting character Georgie is actually Sasha's devoted follower. Because Sasha loves painting, He secretly collects the artwork of his beloved, subtly expressing his affection. But Sasha likes Hill, and the devoted follower ultimately ends up with nothing. Georgie directly brings Belle to the king's resting chamber. "Miss Belle, this is my father's resting room. I'd like to pay my respects to him. Would you like to join me?" This is exactly what Belle has been waiting for, but she pretends to be troubled. Wouldn't this be inappropriate? What they don't know is that at this moment, the antagonist is playing chess with the king. News from the front line reports your father's victory. "The Empire's territory has expanded rapidly these years, all thanks to your father," Aegus responds. "As it should be. The Lessam family is sworn to serve your majesty and the royal family. When I become the head of the family, I will serve you as faithfully as my father does, your majesty." Receiving Aegus's promise, the king finally shows a smile. "Is that so? I will look forward to that day." Suddenly a guard reports, "Your Majesty, Marquis Arundel has arrived." Two people walk in. When Aegus sees that the person behind Georgie is Belle, his brows immediately furrow. Belle Karen? Why her again? How many men does this woman intend to entangle with in one day? He feels inexplicably irritated. Sensing the antagonist's resentful gaze, Belle is startled. Why is the antagonist here too? The system can't help but gloat. This proves you two have a special connection. Belle feels it's more like a fated curse. The king immediately notices the beautiful Belle. "And who might this be?" Belle steps forward and performs a perfect curtsy. "Respected your majesty, I am Belle Karen." The king's face shows recognition. "I wondered why that face seemed so familiar." "So you're Mia's daughter." Belle appears slightly surprised. "You knew my mother?" The king stares intently at Belle's face. "Of course. You and your mother look as if cast from the same mold. Back then, your mother was pursued by countless noble sons in the Empire. I was also one of her admirers. However, in the end, your mother chose Earl Karen." The king's eyes show no trace of sadness as he looks at Belle. "I deeply regret your father's passing. My condolences." Belle's expression immediately becomes awkward. The king and her nominal father were love rivals? Could this be why the royal family and the Karen family grew distant? Nearby, Georgie bites his lower lip. Mother was right. The old man's love wasn't the queen or her, but that common dancing girl who captivated the Empire. Bringing Belle before the old man was indeed the right choice. Aegus's brows are almost knotted together. Is this woman truly unaware of her beauty? He had warned her. If the king takes a liking to her and she becomes a concubine, her life will be ruined. The king shows increased interest in Belle. "How did Miss Belle come to be with Georgie?" Georgie answers, "Mother arranged for me to meet with Miss Belle today. I wanted to show her around and, passing by your resting room, brought her to pay respects to you." Georgie still wears a smile. "What do you think of Miss Belle?" The king immediately understands his intention. Mia's daughter is naturally wonderful. Not just wonderful, but exceedingly so, almost identical to Mia. Since Mia rejected the king's advances and joined the Karen family, the king has secretly pressured the Karen family into decline, hoping to change Mia's mind. But she refused to leave Gina's until her death. Since he couldn't have Mia in this life, having her daughter wouldn't be bad either. Belle feels chilled to the bone by his predatory gaze. The king verbally invites Belle to stay in the royal city for a few days to get to know Georgie better, but secretly plans to find an excuse to keep her and make her unable to escape once the deed is done. Belle pretends not to understand his intentions. "With pleasure, your majesty." Belle knows that once she obtains the noble title patent, no one can interfere with her life choices. Augus's face still shows concern. This foolish woman, does she know how dangerous her situation is? She agreed to the king's invitation without hesitation. Does she truly not understand the consequences? Belle changes the subject. "By the way, your majesty, I've specially brought a gift for you today, and would like to ask for your help with something." The king, already viewing her as his possession, shows more patience. "What is it? You even prepared a special gift?" Belle rummages through her pocket, confusing Georgie. Aegus also doesn't understand what she's doing, since the honey has already been confiscated by her stepmother. "Found it!" Belle directly hands over the gift bag. "Your majesty, this is my gift to you. I hope you'll try it." The king accepts it but looks confused. "Try it? What is this? Food?" Belle's face is full of confidence. "It's sugar." The king skeptically tastes a piece of white sugar. The next moment, he's completely stunned. "Aegus, Georgie, come try this." The king holds the white sugar with great excitement. No one expected that the sugar Belle brought would taste so similar to honey. Even the well-traveled antagonist is quite shocked. The honey he gave her was seized by her stepmother. Where did she get this thing? It's truly unheard of. In this world, people worship the flower god, and the most popular food among all countries is honey because only clergy are allowed to keep bees. Therefore, honey's main distribution channel comes from temples. Among them, the Fry Empire's Royal Trade Association is currently the largest honey agent. When other countries produce substitutes for honey, it would be a fatal blow to the Frey Empire. August looks at Belle with increased surprise in his eyes. Everything this woman does continues to exceed expectations. The king also begins to reassess her, worthy of being Mia's daughter, bringing such a big surprise. "Miss Belle, can you tell me where you found this sugar?" Belle maintains her composure. "Respected your majesty, I didn't find this sugar. I made it myself." These words shock everyone present even more. Georgie looks incredulous. She has this kind of skill? Mother clearly said she was a big-breasted airhead, easy to control like a puppet. The king suppresses his shock. Miss Belle knows how to make sugar? Yes, your majesty. If what she says is true, the king can no longer possibly make her his concubine. I am very pleased with your gift. What do you wish to receive from me? Finally reaching her ultimate goal, I hope you will grant me the title of countess. Georgie can hardly conceal his shock and unease. What? She wants to inherit the title early? No, this way Mother can't control her anymore. Agus's face loses its initial tension, gaining some calm. He knew this woman wasn't simple. The king, crafty as ever, pretends to be unconcerned. The title is not a problem, but just this small bag of sugar is perhaps not enough. If Miss Belle could give me the sugar-making formula, I could not only let you inherit the title early, but also help you exchange for a rich territory. What do you think? The biggest problem with the genus territory is currently poverty. The king's proposal is extremely tempting. Agus is very curious about her choice. Belle, however, refuses without hesitation. I'm sorry, I must decline your majesty. Seeing her unappreciative, the king immediately looks displeased. Miss Belle, my proposal is for your own good. Holding such a thing in your hands is very dangerous for someone your age. Belle certainly knows that the emergence of sugar-making will directly impact honey's market across all countries. Countless nobles will covet the huge benefits behind sugar production. However, Belle has already thought of a countermeasure. Your Majesty, the sugar-making method is an heirloom left by my father. I cannot give it up, but I plan to establish a commercial sugar-making operation in Genas. If your Majesty is willing to invest, I can give you 50% of the sugar sales profits. The king's expression softens somewhat. Miss Belle certainly knows how to do business. With the sugar-making method in her hands, forcefully taking it wouldn't work. Genas is a vassal of the royal family, and 50% profit is indeed substantial. A forceful seizure would be criticized as bullying a young girl. After some consideration, the king agrees to Belle's proposal. Very well, it's settled. I'll have the young Lassam Duke take you to process the title conferment documents. It will take a week. During this week, Miss Belle will stay in the royal city. Just after leaving the king's resting chamber, the antagonist begins to reproach her boldness. Miss Belle, you're truly gutsy, daring to negotiate terms with the king. Do you know that just now, if you had said one wrong word, your head would have been off? But Belle softly calls out, Lord Agus, the antagonist doesn't understand. What? The next moment, Belle staggers into his arms, her body slightly trembling, her face full of grievance. My legs have gone weak from fear. Meanwhile, with the mother and son Arundel, Catherine shouts angrily, Useless! You can't even handle one small matter. I told you to take Belle Karen to seduce the old king, yet you let her successfully inherit her title. Catherine is very angry after learning about Belle's situation. I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't expect her to be so bold as to seize the opportunity to present a gift to Father. Georgie didn't expect to underestimate her. Catherine grasps his hand and begins to soothe him. At this point, the plan to groom Belle Karen as a concubine must be abandoned. My good child, Mother didn't mean to lose her temper just now. It's just that the old king has been seeing me less and less lately, and we must prepare for the worst. Georgie's face is filled with a bitter smile. Mother has raised me. Whatever you want to do, I will try my best to achieve for you. Catherine's face shows some comfort. It's so good that you're so understanding. The urgent task now is to make Belle Karen fall in love with you and marry you. Only by marrying her can you obtain the sugar-making formula, impressing your father, and no longer being a marquis in name only. At the palace, Belle looks panicked. Ah, Lord Agus, please put me down. The antagonist looks helpless. Didn't you say your legs were weak and you couldn't walk? His Majesty asked me to take you to process the patent. This way is faster. Belle's face turns red. My legs are better now. I can walk on my own. Which noble son would treat a lady like this? How does the antagonist's mind work? Even after her feet touch the ground, Belle's face still hasn't calmed. I almost threw up. Agus, however, rubs his wrist with a lofty tone. I don't often help people, especially women. You'd better be grateful. Belle is immediately stunned. Brother antagonist, you seem to misunderstand what helping people means. Belle! The stepmother's voice suddenly comes from behind. Seeing the antagonist, she immediately looks displeased. What are you doing here? Where's the Marquis Arundel? Before Belle can answer, she quickly walks toward Belle. How you never listens. Getting mixed up with Lassam men again. Belle hastily explains. The Marquis took me to greet His Majesty the King earlier. He was detained by His Majesty. The stepmother's face immediately shows a smile. I see. I just left Lady Arundel not long ago. By the way, Lady Arundel hopes you'll stay in the royal city for a few more days to develop feelings with the Marquis. Are you willing? The antagonist's cold gaze immediately turns toward her. Belle only feels a chill down her spine. I was just about to tell you this. His Majesty the King has already agreed to let me inherit the title early. I will stay in the royal city waiting for the patent certificate. You should go back first. The stepmother immediately loses control. What? His Majesty agreed to grant you the title early? How is that possible? Before leaving, she had confirmed the honey was still there. She looks awkwardly at Agus. It seems Lord Lassam has helped Belle. It must be so, otherwise Belle alone couldn't possibly move the king. Agus raises an eyebrow at Belle. It wasn't me. Though I had thought about helping her, she didn't need my help at all. Belle doesn't plan to continue pretending with her stepmother. She pushes away the stepmother's hand. Mother, you don't need to guess anymore. Compared to me, you should be more concerned about your own situation. My father has spent these years transforming you from a poor commoner into a noble lady, giving you a life free from worry about food and clothing. Yet, behind his back, you've been having an affair with the butler and trying to steal his daughter's title and inheritance, marrying her off to unreliable men. All these matters will be settled when I return to Gina. She refuses to listen to her stepmother's embarrassed expression and directly links arms with Agus. Lord Agus, there's no need to waste time here. Let's hurry to complete the conferment procedures. Her stepmother finally panics. No, Belle, listen to your mother's explanation. It's not what you think. She's so weak in the knees she can't even stand. Agus looks at Belle with concern. Don't soften your heart. Don't look back, he says. Belle's eyes are full of determination. When I choose the right path, I never look back. Agus increasingly can't understand her. How does this flower raised in a greenhouse have such resilience? Once your candy production becomes public, profit-driven nobles will be lining up at House Karen's door. Perhaps you should find a reliable man to marry, to help you protect your territory and assets. Belle waves her hand dismissively. You act as if reliable men grow like wildflowers. I don't expect such rare occurrences. Better to be practical and focus on myself. Agus suddenly stops in his tracks. Then with a serious expression, he extends his hand to Belle. Would you consider marrying me? Wasn't the original story supposed to say that the villain had cut off all emotions to focus solely on his ambitions? It also mentioned he despised women and was cruel and violent. Why would he propose to her, an NPC side character? Belle is stunned. Ma, marry? You must be joking. The villain's imposing aura surrounds him as he leans toward Belle, dead serious. Do I look like I'm joking? The villain's gaze is terrifying. Belle involuntarily leans back. No. But Lord Agus, I'm not a Saint Tranty, so I probably can't marry you. Belle frantically questions the system internally. What's going on? Why would the villain suddenly go crazy and propose to me? But the useless system only replies, how should I know? Look what a mess you've made of the original plot. Regarding the Lassam family curse, Agus certainly wouldn't want Belle to die on their wedding night. Don't worry, after marriage I won't touch you. Belle looks shocked. Then, what about your position as head of the family? She's not a Saint Tranty and can offer no help to the villain's ambitions. Agus cares nothing about this. I want to become the family head without relying on any woman. Seeing Belle still hesitating, Agus doesn't demand an immediate answer. The royal hunting competition is in a few days. Give me your answer then. This matter, I hope Miss Belle will consider it seriously. Belle stops him as he turns to leave. May I ask why you want to marry me? After all, in the original story, the villain cut off all emotions to focus on his ambitions. Suddenly proposing to an NPC side character is just too absurd. Agus explains, because you're the first woman in my life who doesn't make me feel disgusted. Not only that, Agus even wants to know more about her. He doesn't understand why either. The next morning, Belle wakes up with dark circles under her eyes. She finally gets to sleep in the palace's grand bed, but didn't sleep well because of the villain's proposal. She must look terrible right now. A maid brings in elegant dresses and expensive jewelry. So this is how women in the palace are treated. Belle finally understands why so many women would do anything to become the king's concubine. When Belle is properly dressed, she looks breathtakingly beautiful. She politely thanks the maid for the compliments, but internally isn't surprised. After all, this is system certified, 1 in 100 beauty. Just then, voices outside the door make Belle's pupils contract Marquise of Arundel, young Duke Lassam. Belle hasn't figured out how to reject Agus yet and immediately panics. Georgie greets her directly and politely. Good morning, Miss Belle. Then he looks at Agus with displeasure. Is young Duke Lassam also here to see Miss Belle? Agus answers matter-of-factly. His Majesty instructed me to attend to Miss Belle's living arrangements in the royal city. Georgie takes out an invitation from his pocket. I'm here to deliver an invitation from His Majesty. In a few days, there will be a hunting competition hosted by the royal family. His Majesty wishes to invite Miss Belle to attend. While Belle examines the invitation, the two gentlemen are already engaged in a visual standoff. His Majesty has invited me to the hunting competition, but I don't know how to ride a horse. The unreliable system finally becomes useful. Activating main quest, please complete the horse startling task in the hunting competition to promote the relationship between the male and female leads. The horse startling task, as the name suggests, involves frightening the female lead's horse during the hunting competition to create an opportunity for the male lead, Hill, to play the hero. How annoying, being made to play the villain again. Belle has no choice but to accept the task. Georgie takes the initiative. Horseback riding is very simple. If you don't mind, Miss Belle, I can teach you. Belle is somewhat surprised. Really? After all, she needs to complete the horse startling task, and a teacher who presents himself is too good to pass up. The villain is unhappy now. My horsemanship is better than Marquise Arundel's. I'll teach you. Georgie isn't backing down. Young Duke Lassam is quite boastful. Let's settle this at the stables. Belle is shocked. What's going on? Both men extend their hands toward Belle simultaneously. Who would you like to teach you horseback riding? Looking at their intense gazes, Belle starts to feel lost in the midst of chaos. Help me, not again. Faced with invitations from two men, Belle hesitates about whose hand to take. From the moment Belle was reborn, she secretly made up her mind. This life she would definitely be happy and not let anyone destroy her life. Belle now has her answer. She doesn't want either man. In this life, she wants to be beautiful on her own terms, contentedly remain a side character, and stay far away from all the original story's protagonists. So Belle directly suggests, "Why don't you two have a competition? Whoever wins can teach me." This unexpected response leaves the men stunned. Belle is particularly carefree. "I'll wait for you in the rest area. Good luck to you both." As soon as Belle leaves, the two men begin to confront each other. Georgie doesn't back down in the slightest. "Shall we race, young Duke Lassam?" Aegis responds coldly, "Talk is useless. Let's begin." Belle can't marry someone like Georgie. While the two men are seriously racing horses, Belle approaches the dessert area. So many delicious sweets. A maid is still replenishing the desserts. Belle asks with innocent sincerity, "These are all free, right?" The maid forces a smile. All food is provided free of charge. But internally she can't help feeling contempt. What kind of poor woman is this asking about prices? She's the first one to ever inquire. Belle sincerely wants to keep a low profile, but her radiance is too dazzling. Two nobles spot her and begin to gossip. "Do you see that woman? She actually had the audacity to make two young lords race horses for her. She's quite beautiful, but her attitude is too arrogant." The male lead follows their gaze. Why is she with them? Clearly all those words about liking him were lies. A nearby young lord snickers. This kind of woman is all appearance and no substance. Easy to handle. "Watch me." Hill wears an expression of complete indifference. Looks like she'll be in trouble soon. She brought this on herself by playing with men's affections. The overconfident man confidently approaches Belle. "Miss, are you alone? My horsemanship is excellent. Would you like me to teach you personally?" Belle doesn't even look up. You want to teach me too?" Their competition just started. "Do you want to join them?" Being ignored like this makes the man immediately displeased. "You're quite arrogant. Aren't you afraid of offending me? My father is Marquis Siadi." Seeing the man immediately bringing up his father, Belle arrogantly raises an eyebrow. "And what about you? Do you have a title?" Hearing this, the man is immediately embarrassed. "My father is still young and healthy. Naturally, I haven't inherited the title yet." Upon hearing this, Belle immediately puts down her plate, her face showing confidence. "Excellent. I have a title. According to the Empire's current etiquette, you should address me as Countess Karen. Otherwise, it would be insubordination." The man's face is rejected, immediately biting his teeth in humiliation and anger. "I've never heard of a female countess. Stop trying to intimidate me." Belle's attitude remains haughty. "I'm warning you to let go immediately." But the man becomes even more presumptuous, directly lifting Belle's chin. "Little beauty, you're quite arrogant. You can't do anything to me." The observing male lead finally can't hold back anymore. He forcefully pries open the man's wrist. "Ow, ow, ow, my hand's going to break!" With his other hand around Belle, the male lead is here too? This is really running into an enemy at a narrow path. Hill ignores the man's cries and turns directly to Belle. "Were you frightened?" Belle shakes her head in confusion. Only then does Hill look at the man. "Get out of my sight immediately. Don't appear before her again. She's my woman now." The man, intimidated by Hill's presence, flees the scene awkwardly. Belle then bows to thank him for his intervention. Hill stares at Belle's beautiful face, frowning involuntarily. "You're quite skilled at attracting attention, aren't you? Managing to manipulate so many men at once, including even August, who's never shown interest in women." Belle is displeased with his accusation. "How can you say that? It's not the flower's fault for attracting butterflies. Those men approached me on their own." Hill, however, arrogantly believes this is just Belle's sophistry. The system sees Belle about to explode. "Host, your character, don't break character." "Damn system." Belle can only sigh. Then she puts on a sweet smile. "Lord Hill, what are you saying? My true love is only for you. Actually, I've been secretly looking at you the whole time." Hearing this, Hill laughs sarcastically. "Looking at me? With what, your mouth? I've been watching you the whole time. Not even once did this woman's gaze linger on me. A woman full of lies." Belle finds her head aching. This man is too difficult to please. If it weren't for the reward not being settled yet, Belle wouldn't bother with him. Hill moves closer to her, looking serious. "Tell me the truth. Are you Aegis's person? Did he send you to approach me?" "Lord Hill, it hurts me when you say such things. I genuinely have feelings for you. How could I be sent by someone else?" But Hill's face shows mockery. "You're right. If you were Aegis's person, you'd be more skilled, not so clumsy. You're not my type." "Give up early?" Belle smiles outwardly, but internally can't help complaining. "I really want to hit him." But to avoid punishment from the system, Belle finally holds back. "Whether you like me or not isn't important. My feelings for you are enough. How long do I have to pretend to be this crazy fan of the male lead? I'm really about to vomit." "Lord Hill, it's enough for me to quietly like you." Hill suddenly startles. Then he grabs Belle's wrist and pulls her into his arms, whispering in her ear, "Let me see how long your deep affection can last." A reminder, my brother is not easily fooled. If you try to juggle multiple men, he absolutely won't let you off. With that, he releases Belle. "Well then, good luck to you." Belle is confused. What does he mean? The system immediately breaks into a cold sweat. Host, I think you should look behind you. Belle turns around to find the villain staring at her with a gloomy expression. Belle Karen. Hearing his voice, Belle immediately feels a chill down her spine. Gus? Belle asks the system how long the villain has been standing there. Upon learning it's been a while, Belle still tries to save face. Lord Agus, you're back. How was the race? Did you win? The villain's voice is ice cold. What, you didn't watch even once? Belle panics internally. This is bad. The villain looks really angry. Hill, enjoying the drama, immediately embraces Belle and starts stirring trouble. Brother, don't misunderstand. I just saw Miss Belle in some difficulty and stepped in to help. After all, I can't stand by and watch someone who likes me fall into trouble. Hearing this, Agus's expression grows even darker. I see. With the man you like most right in front of you, naturally you had no time to watch a horse race. The sarcastic response makes Belle panic. She can only tell a blatant lie. I was afraid of seeing you lose, which would make me sad and upset. Her words make the villain even angrier. You think I would lose? Men hate being told they're inadequate by women they like. Belle immediately wants to cry. Did she say something wrong again? Seeing the opportunity, Hill happily waves his hand. It seems you two need some private space. I'll be going now. See you later, Miss Belle. Belle is speechless. This bad people actually only starts fires without putting them out. Belle's reactions are all observed by the villain. Does she like him that much? So much that she would cling to him despite rejection, discarding her dignity? Belle wants to cry but can't tell him this is a task requirement. Agus approaches Belle, his expression particularly serious. Look at me, Belle Karen. Honestly, I've never spent so much effort on a woman before. Since you appeared, I've been paying attention to your every move, unable to take my eyes off you. What exactly have you done to me, making me so unlike myself? Belle only feels very wronged. I didn't do anything. Agus's eyes begin to show determination. I've changed my mind. I can't wait until after the hunting competition for your answer. Marry me. I'll give you anything you want. Agus holds her tightly in his arms, his voice slightly hoarse. Don't look at other men. Stay with me forever. Belle panics. Lord Agus, this isn't proper etiquette. Didn't the original say villainous misogyny? What's with the jealous little wolf dog in front of me? I didn't see you follow the etiquette when you were confiding in Hill. What, double standard because he's the one you like? The villain leans in closer. Belle panics even more, quickly raising her hands to push him away. No, it's not like that. Agus directly grasps her wrist, his expression particularly serious. Belle Karen, I'm asking you seriously one more time. Will you marry me? I will treat you sincerely, protect you and your territory. Marry me, please. Such burning eyes, such a strong presence. Belle's eyes redden. Not really possible, Lord Agus. After all, as the villain in the original story, Agus is destined to become the male lead's defeated opponent with a tragic ending. If she marries him, wouldn't she be accompanying the villain to his doom? No way, no way. Love-obsessed thinking is destined for defeat. Belle can only ask the system for help, but the system responds, Host, the system doesn't currently provide this service. Please face difficulties on your own. Hearing this, Belle smiles evilly. Fine, then I'll marry the villain and make him love me so much he can't extricate himself. Make him indulge in romance every day. Abandon competing for St. Tranty and the family headship. Retire directly from his career. Let your damn plot completely fall apart. The system panics. Host, please calm down. The reward from the last task has been issued. You now have 3 opportunities to modify the extended plot. Host can currently modify the plot related to the villain proposing to you. Belle chooses to use it immediately without hesitation. Progress modification complete. Agus suddenly looks confused. What's going on? What was he just thinking about? Why does his mind feel completely blank? He just won the horse race against Georgie, then found Belle, and then Belle immediately displays an expression of admiration. Lord Agus, I knew you would win. With you teaching me horseback riding, I'll definitely learn quickly. There's a slight surprise in Agus's eyes. A single race was enough for Belle to recognize that he is the most reliable man. That's enough. Don't worry, I'll make sure you're the most dazzling woman at the hunting competition. But Belle is confused. What kind of plot twist is this now? Whatever, as long as it's not a proposal, it's fine. Thank you. But after leaving the stables, Agus departs first, leaving only Georgie, the male supporting character, sticking like glue, impossible to shake off. Lord Marcus, you must be very busy? You don't need to accompany me specially. I can look around by myself. Belle desperately wants to get rid of this troublemaker. Georgie pretends not to notice her annoyance. I hope Miss Belle won't laugh, but I'm just a Marquis in name. I don't even have my own territory yet. I'm not as well off as Miss Belle. In the original story, Georgie, as the king's only illegitimate son, was granted the title of Marquis but had no real power. The nobles all looked down on him. To fulfill his mother's ambition, he colluded with the villain Agus, and was ultimately caught in the male lead's net, dying miserably on the throne he had always dreamed of. People really shouldn't be too greedy. Isn't it enough that the king is treating them well now, while she's constantly scheming just to survive? Different people, different fates indeed. Suddenly, a carriage rushes toward them. In the panic, Belle pulls Georgie's wrist. As the carriage whizzes past, Georgie looks at Belle, his heart stirring slightly. She just protected him. Belle, however, had the fright of staring in the direction in which the carriage had left. Lord Marquis, are you all right? That carriage was so dangerous. Georgie holds Belle's hand full of sincerity. I'm fine. Thank you for saving me, Miss Belle. I have nothing with which to repay you. How about I offer myself? What do you think? Hearing this, Belle immediately pulls her hand away. Lord Marquis, please don't joke. But Georgie moves even closer, promising he's sincere in his proposal. Belle, having received 2 proposals in one day, is already numb to men's sweet talk. I'm sorry, Lord Marquis. I just inherited my title and have no plans to marry now or in the future. I will bring a husband into the Karen family. Georgie is immediately shocked. A husband into your family? Is she crazy? No woman in the Empire would dare think that way. Belle turns to leave. I know that with your status as a marquis, you certainly can't accept joining my family, so please don't say such things to me anymore. But Georgie still follows Belle shamelessly. The two walk to an impressive building that Belle is surprised to find is no less magnificent than the palace. Seeing her reaction, Georgie explains, this is the temple established by the church in the empire. Nobles can enter freely. In the book, the Pope is mysterious and powerful. Rumors say he can convey divine oracles and predict the future. But under the female lead Heidi's halo, the temple has an overpowered setting but barely any plot role. It's unclear whether they're friend or foe. Arriving at the temple, Belle notices that the recklessly driving carriage has appeared at the temple entrance. Georgie begins to introduce Belle to the flower goddess, rumored to have created this world with her own hands and sent down divine messengers to guard it through generations. The divine messenger of the flower goddess is called the Holy Child. The country that obtains the Holy Child's power will gain the strength to dominate the entire continent. This is content never mentioned in the original story. Belle notices commoners praying outside. Legend says the flower goddess will fulfill the wishes of devout believers. Belle asks Georgie if he also believes that gods are omnipotent. The appearance of the system once made Belle believe in the existence of gods, but subsequent events made Belle feel that gods aren't reliable. Otherwise, she wouldn't be struggling in a novel. Georgie firmly believes that gods are omnipotent. He doesn't like Belle questioning the god's abilities. So any wish made to the flower goddess will come true. Georgie didn't expect her to ask this advanced question and can only nod awkwardly. Oh, of course. After hearing this, Belle immediately clasps her hands to her chest, looking sincere. Flower goddess, please grant me endless money. Hearing this, Georgie immediately frowns. Miss Belle, praying to the flower goddess for money is too vulgar. So the flower goddess can't fulfill it? This question embarrasses Georgie again. Of course not, but as a noble, you'd better choose a lofty wish that matches your status. Then, flower goddess, please bring my father back to life. Georgie's face immediately turns black. Come to your senses. How can the dead be resurrected? Belle frowns. Lord Marquis, you see, gods are not omnipotent. Georgie immediately covers her lips. If people from the church hear these words, you'll be in big trouble. Georgie is shocked by Belle's boldness, not knowing her words have already reached the Pope's ears. Your Holiness, do we need to handle this? Despite being questioned like this, the Pope isn't angry but rather smiles. She dares to question the god's ability. She's the first one. Go, investigate her identity. Meanwhile, the clingy male supporting character is suddenly summoned by the king. Belle finally breathes a sigh of relief. It's fine. Lord Marquis, please go ahead with your business. Just as she rejoices that this person is finally leaving, she finds her hand seized by Georgie. He places a kiss on the back of her hand. On the day of the hunting competition, I'll definitely win the sacred medal for you, making you the most dazzling woman in the empire. Belle can't help but think these words sound familiar. In the original book, during the first hunting competition of the year, the sacred medal is a reward given by the royal family to the person who hunts the biggest prey. The great families view this as an honor. The most romantic story about it is that once a noble gave his one sacred medal to his beloved, and the two entered the hall of marriage because of this. Since then, noble ladies view the sacred medal as a symbol of love, hoping to meet their life partner at the hunting competition. Of course, this Mary Sue scenario is designed for the male and female leads. The male lead Hill will win the medal for the female lead Heidi at the hunting competition, deepening their relationship. Belle's task is to act as a bystander at that time, creating a crisis for the female lead, and increasing the difficulty for the male lead Hill to win the sacred medal. As for the villain and male supporting character who dream of snatching the medal from the male lead's hands, they're destined to be daydreaming. Early the next morning, the palace dining table is full of food Belle likes. Although she hasn't completed the conferment procedures yet, being called countess feels really good. This is the taste of power. If only the villain weren't here. Agus holds a book but keeps staring at Belle. Eat slowly. Don't choke. Seeing him speak, Belle can only pretend to politely inquire, Lord Agus, would you like to come over and eat together? Belle silently prays he won't accept, but the villain directly closes his book and says, yes. Looking at the villain coming over, Belle unconsciously moves a bit to the side. You really make yourself at home. The table is so big. Villain, couldn't you sit farther away? Of course, Belle can only complain internally. Why aren't you eating? I had this whole food arranged according to your preferences. Is it not to your taste? Belle hurriedly stuffs food into her mouth. No, it's delicious. Thank you for your consideration, Lord Agus. Agus is clearly quite pleased. If you like it, when you return to Gina's, I can send the chef over. Belle quickly declines politely. She might think he's placing spies around her. Speaking of which, after this confrontation with her stepmother, returning home will definitely require purging the Count's residence. But she has almost no usable people around her, which isn't good for someone in power. She's heard the royal city has a massive slave market. It's time to prepare for the future. Lord Aegis, I want to visit the slave market today. Could you take me? Aegis immediately frowns. The slave market is chaotic and mixed. It's dangerous for a noble lady to go there. Belle immediately stands up and pouts. But you'll be there, right? With you standing there, all dangers will automatically stay away. Please take me. Belle's thinking is simple. After all, the villain himself is the danger. The most dangerous place is the safest place. But the villain remains expressionless. You think I'll fall for this? Belle immediately grits her teeth, forgetting he hates women the most. How could flirting possibly work on the villain? So she immediately becomes haughty. Fine, I won't go. If it weren't for the king making him follow her, Belle wouldn't be restricted like this by him. Aegis finally wipes his mouth corner, his tone softening a bit. Promise to stay right by my side without straying, and I'll take you. Eventually, Aegis personally takes her to the slave market. Belle looks at the diverse slaves, desperately promoting themselves to passers-by. So this is the slave market? It's so chaotic. Aegis can't help but raise an eyebrow. I told you before, this is no place for a noble lady. Now you're afraid? Belle flatters him perfectly. No, with you here, I'm not afraid at all. After all, nothing is more dangerous than the villain. Hearing this, Aegis's gaze shifts slightly. Is that so? Then he takes Belle's hand of his own accord, his voice softening. From now on, don't let go of my hand for a moment. Otherwise, I can't guarantee your safety. Belle immediately freezes in place. Do we really have to hold hands? Suddenly, a commotion comes from ahead. Haven't you all eaten enough? Beat him to death! A man's back is already covered in blood, but he still endures without making a sound, desperately protecting the child in his arms. Even bystanders can't bear to watch. Keep beating like this and someone will die. How pitiful. Mind your own business. The other party is a noble. Belle curiously approaches. What's happening here? A nearby woman, looking uncomfortable but still explains. 2 war captives bumped into a noble on the street and are being punished. Belle frowns tightly. Even if these 2 did something wrong, they're being too brutal. Someone will die if they keep beating like this. Aegis has long grown accustomed to such scenes. Imperial law only serves the nobility. Nobles with privileges can kill commoners or slaves on the street without bearing any responsibility. Belle disagrees. Life is not a game to be trampled upon. She silently curses the evil class system. The beaten man falls helplessly to the ground, but the whip still doesn't stop. The boy in his arms looks at him helplessly. Brother. The man strokes the boy's face, full of guilt. I'm sorry, Milo, I couldn't protect you. The boy's voice gradually chokes up. It's not your fault. I'm too useless. I'm holding you back. Unexpectedly, their brotherly love arouses the noble's perverse interest. Since you're so inseparable, I'll fulfill your wish. Come, cut off their hands and feet, and throw them on the mountain to feed the wolves. Belle can't stand it anymore. Stop. You can't treat them like that. Aegis stares at his empty hand in a daze. She was told not to let go of my hand, this disobedient woman. The nobleman sees Belle's beauty and gives her a frivolous look. Little beauty, who are you? I am Belle Karen. And you are? The man's gaze doesn't hide his intentions at all. House Karen? I've long heard that Count Karen has a very beautiful daughter. Seeing you today proves the rumors true. Belle has no patience for small talk with him. Enough talk. Name your terms. What will it take for you to spare that pair of brothers? The previously desperate brothers are now stunned. The man approaches Belle, not taking her seriously at all. Miss Karen, these 2 slaves disrespected me on the street. Insulting nobility is a serious crime. I'm merely administering a minor punishment. I advise you not to interfere. Belle stands her ground. What if I insist? 2 living human beings, yet they can't move so many spectators to action. How extremely cold-blooded. The man reveals lecherous eyes. Since Miss Karen insists on interfering, how about you spend a night with me? As he speaks, he reaches out to caress Belle's cheek. As long as you come with me, not only will I release these 2 slaves, I'll even fund your impoverished Ginas. How about that? Seeing this, the villain is filled with displeasure and rage. How about not? Then he violently grips the man's hand, caressing Belle. With a crack, the man's face contorts in pain. Ow! 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 Let go of me! Aegis's expression is extremely grim. If you dare touch a single hair on her, I'll break both your hands. The man feels his wrist about to shatter, but due to the villain's status, he can only apologize with a smile. So it's young Duke Lassam. I didn't know this lady was your companion. Please forgive me. Hearing this, Belle becomes even more displeased. Even if I weren't his companion, you still couldn't speak so rudely and offend me. This is too obscene and disrespectful to women. The man repeatedly agrees. Yes, Miss Karen is right. But internally, he's full of contempt. House Karen has long fallen from grace. A woman who sells her beauty to attach herself to the Lassam family still thinks she's something. Are you their master? Belle looks at the 2 on the ground, feeling compassion. Mentioning this, the man grits his teeth. Yes, they're slaves I just bought. These 2 idiots defied me on the street, so I'm punishing them severely. Hearing these words, the young man immediately angrily defends himself. You're lying. You were the one who touched me first, you vile and disgusting fly. The man frowns with displeasure. I bought you, so you're my personal property. I can do whatever I want with you. Before the young man can respond, the severely injured man nearby suddenly kneels before Belle. Kind lady, please save my brother. I'm beyond saving, but my brother is still young. Please save him. Belle unconsciously tightens her grip. How pitiful. Since she needs to buy servants anyway, purchasing these two wouldn't be unreasonable. She then turns to the noble man. I want to buy them. Name your price. Aegis doesn't understand. You want to buy them? Belle nods. Consider it my good deed for the day. After all, the king gave me plenty of money. Aegis looks at the two men without a trace of compassion. One is dying. The other is barely alive. Buy them, and you'll likely end up with two corpses. Why waste your money? But Belle's gaze remains resolute. Lord Aegis, you may be right, but I'm sorry I cannot stand by and watch two lives perish before my eyes. Aegis stares at her face in surprise, then turns away. Do as you wish. He has never understood Belkaren's thinking. It's precisely this quality that draws him to her uncontrollably. Hearing this, the nobleman immediately makes an outrageous demand. If Miss Karen wishes to purchase these two slaves, please pay 1 gold coin. His eyes hold a hint of mockery. He's heard that Genus is bankrupt. This woman embarrassed him in front of Duke Lassam, so now he'll let her taste humiliation. Belle may be kind, but she's no fool. 1 gold coin? He might as well rob her. In the Demeter continent, slaves are considered extremely lowly, priced between 1 copper and 1 silver coin. Sometimes they can even be exchanged for food or items. Seeing her frown, the man begins to speak sarcastically. Don't think it's expensive, Miss Karen. The older slave has quite a background. He was once the knight commander of the Louisville Kingdom. Training a knight commander isn't just about money. Belle is surprised and simultaneously laments the horrors of war. No matter how noble one's status after defeat, they can only become playthings for foreign nobles. The blonde youth begins to worry. Brother, do you think she'll spend so much money to buy us? The bleeding man responds, if the gods are watching, perhaps. The noble man can't wait to see Belle humiliated. What are you hesitating for, Miss Karen? These are rare slaves. Inwardly he mocks her, poor thing. Can't afford it. Let's see how long your pride lasts. Belle crosses her arms, indignantly looking at the nobleman. If you're such an expert, why were you beating him to death? The nobleman replies arrogantly. Even the most valuable slave is still just a slave. He defied me and tried to harm me. A noble's dignity cannot be offended. A single strand of my hair is worth more than 1 gold coin. Aegis wants to pay for Belle, but she confidently waves him off. So you're saying a single strand of a noble's hair is worth more than these two slaves, correct? The nobleman, completely unaware he's fallen into Belle's trap, arrogantly answers, of course. How can slaves be compared to nobles? Belle immediately brightens. Wonderful. Then, to everyone's astonishment, she forcefully plucks one of her own hairs. Here, this is my hair. I'm also a noble. I want to exchange this for these two slaves. You can keep the change. Nearby, Aegis can't help but snicker. She really dares to say that. Seeing the man's displeased expression, Belle directly asks Aegis to witness. Didn't this gentleman just say that a noble's single hair is worth more than a slave? Isn't that right? Aegis nods with a slight smile. That's correct. The man is completely stunned. That was just a figure of speech. I didn't say you could actually pay with hair. Belle doesn't care. I've already pulled out my hair. Do you know how much that hurts? Are you trying to go back on your word? Aegis looks at Belle with confusion. Pulling hair is painful? Belle nods repeatedly. Yes, extremely painful. Aegis then looks at the man with a dark expression. It seems we need to discuss the price differently. Harming a noble is a serious crime. If you want to settle this privately, hand over those two slaves and compensate her with 100 gold coins, and we'll consider the matter closed. The man is shocked. What? Aegis moves closer to Belle, taking her into his arms. You should think carefully. After all, I will back Miss Belle completely. Belle immediately puts on a pained expression. Pulling out hair really hurts. And so, Belle successfully obtains the two men's contracts. She looks at them. From now on, I am your master. Are you willing to serve me? The man immediately kneels before Belle. Miss, we will serve you like oxen and horses to repay you. But what puzzles him is, nobles already have complete power over their slaves' lives, so why would she ask for their consent? The blonde youth looks at Belle in a daze. Father, mother, I've seen the goddess. Belle brings the two back to the palace. The man's injuries are severe, and the blonde youth worries. Miss, will my brother die? Miss Belle reassures him. The royal physician is coming. But Aegis raises a practical issue. No noble ever treats a slave's illness. They're always left to fend for themselves. Hearing this, Belle looks serious. Lord Aegis, that kind of antagonistic thinking is dangerous. Human lives have no hierarchy. It's just different birth environments. No one's life is more precious than another's. Aegis is immediately displeased. Antagonist? So you've always seen me as the bad guy. Belle quickly explains with a smile. You misunderstood. You've helped me many times. How could I think you're a bad guy? But in her heart she thinks, but you literally are the villain in the original story. The royal physician Aegis summoned finally arrives. The man pushes his glasses. Which lord is injured? But Belle pushes Aegis aside. It's my servants who are injured. Please treat them quickly. The physician is shocked. He was urgently summoned to treat two lowly servants? Belle anxiously pushes him. Don't just stand there, doctor. Quickly check the one on the bed. I think he can barely breathe. Agus pulls at Belle's collar. If I get sick next time, will you be this anxious? Belle is startled, then smiles and pats his shoulder. No, Lord Agus, you're so strong you won't get sick, right? Her frank comment makes Agus frown. So, will you or won't you? With Agus holding her collar, Belle blushes and responds, I will. Agus finally lets go, satisfied. Good. The physician dismisses the blonde youth and begins using magic to treat the patient's wounds. Belle watches curiously. Seeing flames suddenly appear, she is startled. Wait, doctor, what are you doing? Why are you setting a fire? The man calmly explains, fire burning magic used to stop bleeding. It can prevent wound infection. Hearing this, Belle breaks into a cold sweat. She has clearly overestimated the medical standards of this magical world. Setting fire to the wound would just burn the flesh to a crisp, not stop bleeding. She almost forgot that this novel's background worldview is dominated by divine authority. People believe in divine oracles and destiny. The so-called medical methods are either burning, bloodletting, or drinking holy water. The rest depends on whether God wants you to live or not, essentially passive treatment. Thinking of this, Belle directly refuses further treatment from the physician. The man isn't displeased, as in his view, lowly servants don't need such elaborate treatment. But the blonde youth becomes anxious, choking back tears as he tugs at Belle's clothes. Miss, didn't you promise to heal my brother? I was wrong about you. You're not a divine woman, nor a person who keeps promises. Hearing this, Agus becomes displeased. This rude boy dares to speak disrespectfully to the woman I care about? Mind your tone. Buying you two is already merciful. Don't be ungrateful. The blonde youth's eyes fill with tears, but he remains fearless. I'm just stating facts. What's wrong with that? At least I'm better than you liars. You're all big liars. Belle sighs, as expected of a child, unable to stay calm. Did I say I wouldn't treat your brother? Agus frowns. What? You really intend to help them? Belle not only helps them but also creates a simple alcohol distillation device. The best disinfectant should be iodine, but for now Belle can only use alcohol as a substitute. These unfamiliar terms, Agus has never heard before. Belle points to the liquid in the device. This is alcohol. After collecting some, it can disinfect wounds. The blonde youth's eyes show doubt. Can you really heal my brother? I've never heard of a noble lady skilled in medicine. What if she makes things worse? As Belle, who studied medicine in her previous life, she's much more reliable than these physicians who only know how to burn wounds. I can't guarantee I'll heal your brother, but I'll do my best. Without fever medicat ion, Belle can only use physical cooling methods. She brings a basin of ice water, instructing the youth to wipe his brother's body every so often. Agus becomes more curious about Belle. Where did you learn all this? I've never heard of such things. Besides, Belle isn't someone who would gamble with lives. Belle is instinctively alarmed. This isn't the modern world. Using modern medical methods would certainly raise suspicion. So she quickly improvises. This is recorded in the Karen family's founder's journal. You know that the three great families once sailed together to explore new continents. The founder spent his lifetime writing about his voyage experiences, including methods to prevent wound infection. After all, neither empire has seen the world beyond the continent. Belle finishes her explanation, still feeling nervous. Agus quickly accepts this answer. After all, how could a 17-year-old Belle know so much? So the sugar-making method must also come from the Curran family journal. Unlike the Lassam family, which not only failed to bring back useful information from their voyage but also brought a curse upon their family members, turning them into bloodthirsty monsters. If he could see the Karen family journal, he might learn what the Lassam family encountered during their voyage, thus finding a way to lift the curse. Then he could marry Belle and have children with her. Belle knows nothing of his thoughts. Instead, she feels uncomfortable under his gaze. Lord Agus, why are you looking at me like that? Do you have something to say to me? Agus ultimately doesn't speak. After all, if he were to speak now, Belle would certainly think he had ulterior motives. He should respect and support her to win her heart and approval early. Meanwhile, the Pope also receives news that the Louisville Kingdom's crown prince has been rescued by Belle. The Pope's interest in Belle deepens. God's prophecy has been broken. The Holy Son, destined to die, has been resurrected. This world finally emits a different fragrance. The man gently sniffs the rose in his hand, revealing a smile. Little one, it seems I must meet you in person. It turns out that the blonde youth saved by Belle is the most noble crown prince of the Louisville Empire, but due to war he has fallen to become the most humble slave. The Louisville king knew he was the last hope of the Louisville kingdom, so the king sent Duke Orlando to protect him and leave. Unfortunately, despite the king's fight to the death, he couldn't hold the last line of defense. And Duke Orlando, to protect the crown prince, sacrificed his own son as a substitute. Although Mill escaped from the palace, he was mixed among prisoners of war and became a slave of the Charlemagne Empire, even falling into the hands of a cruel and despicable noble. At the critical moment, a lady as beautiful as an angel saved him. Now Mill is completely loyal to Belle because her kindness allowed him to survive. Belle opens the door to change the man's bandages. The fever has subsided, and his body is no longer in danger. Mill sincerely expresses his gratitude to Belle, but she says the best way to thank her is to live well. Belle then remembers to ask his name. Mill shows a pained expression. The Louisville kingdom has been conquered, and he is no longer the high and mighty Crown Prince Mill Clue. Slaves have no names. Belle sees he's unwilling to reveal his true name, so she names him William, and the man grin. Mill softly murmurs William, staring blankly at Belle. What? Don't you like it? I can choose another. No, I like it very much. Mill's gaze is resolute, miss. Thank you for giving me a name. From now on, you are my reason to live. But Belle suddenly places her hand on his shoulder, her tone particularly serious. William, everyone has their own life. Never live for others, live for yourself. Belle doesn't want him to be like her past self, mindlessly spending 20-some years paying for others, ultimately completely losing herself. You need to find your own life's meaning, understand? Mill says he understands, but in his heart he's confused. Having lost his home and family, what meaning could his life possibly have now? After finishing her tasks, Belle and Agus walk in the palace courtyard. Belle sighs. The palace food is too good. I feel like I've gained weight. Agus stares at her intently. Those who love you won't care about your appearance. Belle turns to look at Agus. By the way, Lord Agus, the knighting procedures are complete. You don't need to come here every day. I won't complain to His Majesty. You must have more important matters, right? After all, as the antagonist, he should focus his energy on competing with the male lead for the family headship. Agus suddenly draws close to Belle, his eyes full of deep emotion. To me, you are the most important matter, Belle Karen. I don't know if you're genuinely slow or just pretending. Can't you see my feelings for you? Belle is stunned by his sudden directness. Is the antagonist going to propose again? As the antagonist's face draws closer, Belle's heart nearly jumps out. Agus caresses Belle's face with one hand, his voice deep and sensual. Belle Karen, Belle panics, you, just as their lips are about to touch. Miss! A sudden voice interrupts Agus's movement. Miss, my brother is awake. Mill looks overjoyed, but the antagonist's face is clouded. Belle immediately sighs with relief, really. She inwardly cheers, William baby, your timing is impeccable. Grin wakes up, and Mill throws himself into his arms, his voice choked with emotion. I thought you would leave me alone. After comforting the crown prince in his arms, Grin quickly raises his head to thank Belle, but Belle points to the antagonist beside her. I didn't do much. If you want to thank someone, thank Lord Agus. That noble spared you because of his face. The antagonist's expression is still sour. If not for Belle, he wouldn't bother with such trivial matters. Besides, these two brothers interrupted his confession. Grin doesn't understand why the antagonist looks so displeased. He rises from the bed to sincerely express his gratitude. Regardless, you are our saviors. Thank you, Miss Belle. Lord Agus. The antagonist finally speaks. No need to thank me. From now on, you are servants of Countess Karen. Serve your mistress well. Grin appears particularly sincere on the surface, of course. But his inner thoughts are particularly deep. Now he and the crown prince are homeless. If those people discover the crown prince is still alive, they will surely hunt them down. If they use their servant status well, they won't put the crown prince in danger again. Mill tells the man that Belle has named them Grin and William. Belle asks if Grin was indeed once a knight commander. When Grin confirms, Belle has a new idea. How many war prisoners like you have drifted from the Luoval Kingdom to the Charlemagne Empire? Grin doesn't understand, but honestly answers, as far as I know, 12 royal knights came here with the merchant caravan like us. Dozens of ordinary knights, but many of them were bought as soon as they reached the slave market. In the original story, knights are a noble's status symbol. The number of knights demonstrates a noble's power and status. The military system on this continent is not well developed, with unclear classification of troops. Battles basically rely on knights. But knights don't engage in production, so maintaining them is very expensive. Belle considers that to sell sugar in Gina's, she must have adequate forces to protect her territory and business. This is much more reliable than finding a powerful husband. Currently, my territory of Gina's has less than 10 ordinary knights and not a single cavalry unit. If I ask you to go to the slave market and buy back all the knights from the Louisville Kingdom, can you do it? Mill is shocked by Belle's decision, but Grin accepts without hesitation. As you wish. Tomorrow is the hunting competition. Agus must represent Lassam to attend, so he can't accompany her. After the hunting competition, will you return to Gina's? Agus's voice is full of reluctance. Belle explains with a troubled expression, yes, I need to establish a business to sell sugar, deal with my stepmother's scandal, settle new servants. There's really too much to do. Agus suddenly takes Belle's hand, personally placing a ring on her finger. This is for you. It's a magic ring my mother left me, called the spatial ring. When someone encounters danger, they can hide inside. It has many uses. Belle quickly demurs, I can't accept something so valuable. Aren't all magically made items very expensive? And being personally given a ring by the antagonist, it feels like I'm being trapped. But the antagonist suddenly starts using cheesy romantic lines. Compared to you, this is not valuable at all. I told you that you are important to me. Agus suddenly embraces Belle tightly. Tomorrow, I will definitely win the sacred medal for you, so you can take it back with you. Belle is speechless from his flirtation. System, I want to complain. This antagonist is seducing me with sweet talk. The next day, arriving at the stables, Belle chooses an old, thin horse. This royal hunt has gathered almost all the power holders in the empire. The hunting competition is lively indeed. because this hunt is not just simple entertainment. It is more of a political activity. The king uses it to reward and punish, improving people's behavior. Just as written in the original story, the male lead Hill cannot stand before the king like his brother Aegis due to his status. This is why he wants to win the sacred medal more, to better prove himself in front of everyone. But this kind of plot is too cliched, isn't it? Belle is inwardly complaining when she suddenly meets the antagonist's gaze. Belle's heart immediately panics. Damn, he seems to have seen her. Quick, hide! No, wait, she hasn't done anything wrong, so why fear him? Thinking this, Belle immediately looks back defiantly. That's right, she is the dignified Countess Karen. What is there to fear? But the antagonist has vanished. When Belle is confused, "Are you looking for me?" A deep voice sounds from beside her ear. Belle can even feel the heat of his breath. She becomes somewhat flustered. How does he appear and disappear so mysteriously? She can't help but complain. How do you walk without making any sound? The antagonist lowers his gaze to explain, "I teleported here using magic. What's wrong? Weren't you being brave? Are you scared now?" The close distance makes Belle uncomfortable. No. Aegis raises an eyebrow slightly. "What were you looking around for just now? Looking for me?" Belle wants to cry. "Being caught is so embarrassing." "No, I was just looking around." The antagonist suddenly grabs Belle's wrist. "You're not wearing the ring I gave you." Belle explains that because it's too valuable, and because she has a mission, she's worried about damaging it, so she didn't wear it. Aegis frowns slightly. "Mission?" Belle quickly corrects herself. "I mean the hunting competition." Aegis doesn't understand. "What are you talking about? When in danger, didn't I tell you to use the ring to hide immediately?" To be honest, is it because of Hill? Seeing Belle's surprise, Aegis's expression darkens further. "Because you'll see Hill at today's hunting competition, so you don't want to wear what I gave you, afraid he'll misunderstand, right?" Belle frowns. "It's not like that. The male lead's confession mission is already over. Who cares about that arrogantly cocky Anorage Joe anymore?" Aegis suddenly moves closer, softly calling Belle's name, his voice full of helplessness. "What else do I need to do for you to give up Hill?" Unable to move in his embrace, Belle blushingly explains, "I've already given up. I don't like him at all now." Not at all? As soon as the words fall, the male lead's cold voice is heard. "I remember Miss Belle once said she would like me forever. What happened? A few days apart, and this feeling has run dry?" Belle is speechless. Why are the male lead and antagonist circling around her, a bystander, instead of competing for the female lead? This cursed love triangle confrontation makes Belle want to find a place to hide. The antagonist instinctively shields Belle behind him. "Why are you here?" Hill's words carry provocation, brother. "Don't forget, I also have Lassam blood in my veins. I'm qualified to participate in the hunting competition." Aegis's brow furrows deeper, illegitimate and improper, only staining the family name. But Hill looks at Belle. "Miss Belle, are you dating my brother?" Belle hastily replies, "No, Lord Aegis and I are just friends." Seeing her quickly deny their relationship, the antagonist's expression darkens further. Hill wears an expression that suggests he enjoys stirring up trouble. "Just friends? But I heard my brother gave you the ring his mother left him. That doesn't seem like something ordinary friends would do." Aegis immediately interrupts him. "Hill, instead of placing spies around me, you should practice your riding and hunting skills. Don't embarrass the Lassam family later." Hill refuses to back down. "Don't worry, brother. I will definitely defeat you and win the sacred medal. I want everyone to see clearly who is the best candidate for the next head of the Lassam family." Belle smells the thick gunpowder in the air and is about to sneak away when Hill redirects the conflict back to her. "Miss Belle, let me warn you, don't think Aegis really likes you. He's only approaching you because you like me, wanting to take you away to humiliate me. So I advise you not to be too pleased with yourself. He'll abandon you soon." After lighting this fire, Hill turns and leaves. Aegis's expression is terrifyingly dark. After a long time, he speaks. "Do you believe it? That I approached you because he liked you?" Belle falls silent because in the original story, the antagonist indeed has such a character setting. Lacking parental love from an early age, he only loves himself. From childhood to adulthood, he always had to be one step ahead of the male lead to prove his own strength. Aegis doesn't give up because of this. "It's okay, Belle. I will prove it to you. My love for you has nothing to do with anyone else." In this moment, the antagonist is unexpectedly handsome. The hunting competition officially begins. But Belle's horse doesn't seem very intelligent. Currently, Aegis has already hunted a wild boar, while Hill has given the rabbit he caught to Heidi. The male and female leads are progressing well. The female lead is getting closer to the male lead. Meanwhile, Belle ponders how to complete the mission with this not-so-intelligent horse. Seeing Heidi getting closer, Belle knows this horse cannot complete the task. She has no choice but to jump down and actively approach Heidi's horse, expecting to be trampled. But there's no movement at all. When she opens her eyes, she sees Aegis. He saved her. "Go wait on the side. It's not safe here." Belle frowns. "But what about the mission?" Just then, the male lead Hill jumps on the horse and calms the animal. But Heidi's first thought is whether Belle is injured. "Lord Hill, put me down quickly. Miss Belle might be hurt." Hill doesn't understand you're so worried about her. "Are you close friends?" "Miss Belle, I'm sorry. I didn't see someone in front. Are you hurt?" Belle shows a kind smile. "I'm fine." Inwardly, she can't help but admire the female lead's kindness. Even though Belle suddenly rushed out, Heidi takes the responsibility on herself. The startled horse mission is complete, but the reward will only be calculated after the female lead receives the medal given by the male lead. Before Belle can complain about the system's additional conditions, Agus steps forward first. You're the daughter of Duke Montbaton. Didn't they send someone to teach you horsemanship before the hunting competition? Heidi immediately apologizes with a guilty face, but Belle can't watch her take the blame. Lord Agus, it's not her fault. I rushed out suddenly. After all, the male lead is afraid of exposing his weakness and doesn't dare defend Heidi in front of the antagonist. Belle can only speak up herself. Agus's expression darkens. He's trying to help her, yet she sides with outsiders. Do you know how dangerous that was just now? Hill finally dismounts to mediate, brother. Bullying a noble lady like this won't win you the medal. Since no one's hurt, let's continue the competition. Agus's expression sours further. Mind your own business. I heard you haven't caught anything yet. Hill doesn't explain. The competition isn't over. Let's wait and see. Heidi looks at Hill with concern, because he gave all his game to her. To make the antagonist and male lead leave, Belle urges the female lead to depart. Heidi remembers her father's teachings and secretly resolves not to embarrass herself in the competition. To avoid disgracing her father, she bids Belle farewell and continues the competition. Hill follows closely behind. Belle finally sighs with relief. Agus then looks at Belle. Where's your horse? Belle realizes her horse is long gone. There's really nothing I can do about you. Agus directly grabs her waist and helps her onto his horse. My horse knows the way. He'll take you back to camp. It's too dangerous for you here. I'm worried. Belle worries. What about you? How will he compete without his horse? But in this way, the male lead can easily win. Hearing this, Agus is immediately delighted. You're worried about me? Belle's face suddenly reddens. Oh, of course I worry. How could I not be moved when the antagonist is so good? Agus directly mounts the horse close to her, then escort me part of the way until I meet up with my subordinates. Belle's heart beats fast. He's too close, she can even feel his body heat. Agus suddenly speaks. Why do you smell fragrant? Belle is startled. Noble ladies all have perfume scents. Haven't you smelled it before? Agus doesn't hide the truth. I've never been close to any woman except you. Only Belle makes him unlike himself. Suddenly there's a rustling from the bushes. Agus immediately becomes alert. Looking up, he sees a bear lunging at them. Belle wonders, isn't this the black bear originally hunted by the male lead? How did they encounter it? Seeing the black bear, Agus immediately uses magic to attack. With just one arrow, the massive black bear loses its life. Belle didn't expect Agus's magical talent to be so strong. She can't help but sigh that if only she knew magic, at least she could protect herself in this world. But the conditions for learning magic are extremely strict. It's not something you can learn just through effort. Agus kneels beside Belle, affectionately stroking her head. It's okay. You have me. I will protect you. The antagonist is flirting again, making Belle blush immediately. Lord Agus, we finally found you. The arrival of guards interrupts the two's intimate moment. Agus has his subordinates deal with the bear. The competition time is nearly over. The sacred medal is practically guaranteed. Belle suddenly remembers that this bear should have been hunted by the male lead. If the antagonist takes the medal, her mission will be ruined. Helpless, Belle exploits a system loophole, shamefully approaching Agus. Lord Agus, could you give me this black bear? Agus is slightly surprised. You want it? Belle feels too guilty to meet his eyes. Yes. Inwardly, she can't help but worry. This is the first time she has asked the antagonist for something. Given that it's related to his competition with the male lead, will he give it to her? To her surprise, Agus gives it to her without hesitation. Whatever Belle wants, even if it's the stars in the sky, he would find a way to get them. Belle feels somewhat moved. Why are you so good to me? Anyway, the sacred medal is going to be given to you, so whether you take it or I take it, it's the same. The antagonist's answer makes Belle feel even more guilty. Agus looks at Belle seriously. I like you, Belle Karen. Haven't I said this many times? Belle unconsciously tightens her grip. Then what if one day I do something that hurts you? Agus suddenly moves closer, lifting Belle's hair and gently sniffing it. That's something I'll willingly bear. His gaze is particularly determined, but Belle's heart begins to race uncontrollably. What should she do? Just as the hunting competition ends, the horn sounds to tally the game. Everyone speculates which son from the Lassam family will win, but the champion is Belle Karen. Everyone is shocked. The king's mistress suddenly looks at her with newfound respect, instructing Georgie that even if he marries into another family, he should still wed Belle. Agus's subordinate can't bear to see this. The glory rightfully belongs to Agus, but Agus only cares about Belle's happiness. Everything else is secondary. For the mission to proceed smoothly, Belle accepts the medal from the king and walks directly toward the female protagonist, Heidi. Before everyone's eyes, she personally presents the medal to Heidi. Heidi immediately blushes. Seeing this, Agus is puzzled. She seems particularly attentive to the Montbaton family's youngest daughter. Could this be why she keeps rejecting him? Nearby, the male protagonist Hill grits his teeth. What game is Belle Karen playing now? Heidi's face flushes crimson as she receives the medal. Is Belle serious, or is this just a prank? Doesn't she know that presenting the sacred medal during the hunting competition symbolizes a marriage proposal? Could she actually have feelings for her? Heidi's sister Sasha can't help feeling jealous. You're so close with my sister, Lady Karen, giving her such a valuable gift. Belle responds without hesitation, Heidi saved my life. This small token means nothing. Hearing this, Sasha secretly seethes. She never expected this country bumpkin Heidi to secure such a powerful connection right after returning. The major families already knew Belle possessed the sugar-making method. Her father had specifically instructed Sasha to befriend Belle. Since you and my sister get along so well, I sincerely invite you to our tea party, Sasha suggests. Heidi's face lights up with expectation. It would be wonderful if Lady Belle could visit their home. But Belle wants nothing to do with the villainous Sasha. I'm sorry, I'm returning to Genus tomorrow. Perhaps another time. Upon returning to the palace, William and Green immediately surround Belle, eager to hear her confirm winning the sacred medal. William admires her even more. Not just the Empire's only female earl, but also a champion who defeated other noble warriors. Belle feels somewhat guilty hearing William's praise, since she actually received the medal from August. Green has successfully completed his mission to purchase servants and knights, and hands Belle the box she entrusted to him. When Belle opens the box and puts on the ring, Green sincerely compliments, "What a beautiful ring, my lady. Is it from your lover?" Belle's face immediately turns red. No, just a friend. Since experiencing betrayal in her previous life, Belle no longer yearns for love. Yet Agus's image flashes through her mind. Belle Karen, I'm asking you sincerely once more. Will you marry me? If he weren't the major villain from the book, she might consider giving him a chance. But having been reborn, Belle refuses to follow him to his death. Still, she must admit she has fallen for Agus. But these feelings must remain buried in her heart. Her resolve cannot waver. Meanwhile, at the distant Karen earldom, Belle's stepmother worries about Belle returning to deal with her. But the butler convinces her that if Belle was killed by a gangster on her way back to Genus, the entire territory would be hers. Back at the palace, Belle prepares to leave. Thanks to her sugar-making method and impressive performance in the hunting competition, she has become the Empire's most sought-after female earl. Numerous nobles send gifts to curry favor. Among them is a letter from Heidi Mountbatten, expressing her sincere gratitude. Because of Belle's sacred medal, her previously unwelcoming family has finally accepted her. Belle is surprised. How could the cruel, calculating Duke Mountbatten suddenly respect his country daughter because of a medal? Most likely, he values Belle's sugar-making method. She can't help but sigh at these nobles' pragmatism. Learning that Agus hasn't sent a gift, Belle feels disappointed. He's really pissed off. I was hoping to see him before I left, but I'm afraid I won't be able to. William notices her expression and asks curiously, "My lady, do you like Lord Agus?" His question makes Belle flush red. As she hurriedly puts away the letter, Don't be ridiculous, we're just friends," she stammers. Despite her denial, Belle cannot hide her disappointment. She has rejected him so many times. Being abandoned was inevitable. Though she prepared herself for this, the sourness rising in her heart makes it difficult to breathe. Even the system notification of a reward doesn't lift her spirits. This reward is a map of the book's world, marking valuable resource locations. Belle's spirits immediately lift when she sees that Black Bear Mountain near Genus contains minerals. This could make her fortune. However, the mountain's harsh environment falls in a lawless zone, and Belle lacks mining rights. This requires careful planning. Just then, she hears Agus has arrived. Belle is overjoyed, but it's not good to have her emotions so easily tugged at by him. Seeing Agus in military uniform, Belle frowns. "Are you going to war?" Agus explains his father was injured in battle and he must go reinforce him. When Belle inquires about Hill, Agus can't hide his disappointment. "So you're most concerned about him. Don't worry, he's staying in the Empire. If my father and I die, he can smoothly inherit the family headship." Belle quickly clarifies, "That's not what I meant." In the original story, the male and female protagonists grow closer during Agus's campaign. With the Mountbatten family's support, Hill uses spies to leak military intelligence to the Empire, causing Agus to fail his breakout attempt and suffer serious injuries. Agus gently pats Belle's head. "I've assigned people to protect you while I'm away. Don't get hurt and distract me, understand?" Agus is too good. Belle cannot watch him fall victim to others' schemes. She finally tells Agus about Hill's collusion with the Mountbatten family, though she cannot explain how she knows this information. Hearing this, Agus falls into contemplation. If true, Hill and the Mountbatten family have played their cards well. Will these events really happen? How can Belle be so certain? Hearing Belle call his name, Agus snaps back to attention. She's worried about him. "Belle, we probably won't see each other for a while. May I make a small request?" He clasps her delicate hand, and his gaze particularly intense. "I want to kiss you." Hearing Agus's request, Belle's face burned hotly, and for Agus's thirsty eyes, she was too shy to look directly at him. "This is too sudden, Lord Argus. Our relationship is inappropriate." Agus directly caresses Belle's face, noticing her averted eyes and heated skin. "But your eyes say otherwise. You're wavering." Belle's face reddens further. Who could refuse a kiss from someone they like? That's... Agus looks at her with burning intensity. "If so, I'll take that as consent." Belle feels her heart pounding wildly and expectantly closes her eyes. But the villain only gently kisses her forehead. Belle actually feels somewhat disappointed. Agus affectionately pats her head. The more intimate things can wait until you waver a bit more. Belle's heart beats too fast for her to speak. Finally leaving the palace, Belle's party passes through Black Bear Mountain, the mineral-rich mountain from her reward. Black Bear Mountain connects the territories of Ginas and Croatia. With its complex terrain, few people venture there. To mine there, she first needs to know what minerals exist, then incorporate Black Bear Mountain into Ginas territory and obtain mining rights. While contemplating this, they suddenly hear horses neighing ahead. They've encountered bandits. With their path blocked ahead and behind, Green can only cover their escape into the forest. Belle grabs William's hand and runs. The bandits are targeting Belle. Green cannot hold off all the bandits, and some continue pursuing Belle. Belle must split up with William, but he refuses. "I can't leave you, my lady." In this critical moment, Belle shows unprecedented decisiveness. "This is an order. Take the next fork in the opposite direction and return to bring Green to rescue me." William only agrees to leave after she promises to stay safe. After receiving confirmation that William ran away in tears, Belle was the only person in the world who was good to him. The bandits corner Belle at a cliff edge. They want to capture her alive. Belle can only place her hope in the ring Agus gave her. Without hesitation, she jumps off the cliff, believing Agus's ring will protect her just as he would. When William and Green arrive, they witness Belle's cliff jump. Fortunately, though the space inside the ring is bumpy, Belle only sprains her ankle without serious injury. But she has fallen into a completely unfamiliar place. Suddenly, footsteps approach. The newcomer wears simple clothes with a mask covering half his face. "Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you, miss." At the cliff edge, Orlando has subdued all the attackers, one group from the Frey Empire, another sent by Belle's stepmother. Mill's gaze toward these people turns vicious. "Kill them all." They pledged loyalty to the wrong master. Looking into the bottomless ravine, Mill's eyes still hold a glimmer of hope. "Duke Orlando, falling from such a height, do you think Lady Belle could survive?" "Your Highness, it's too high. Lady Belle's chances of survival are nearly zero." Mill clenches his fists. "Why do I always bring misfortune to those around me?" Orlando urgently grabs his wrist. "None of this is the Crown Prince's fault. As the Holy Child, you were born into power struggles and inevitable sacrifices." Mill shakes him off. "I don't want to be this damned Holy Child. I just want my father and Lady Belle to survive." Meanwhile, at the bottom of the cliff, Belle warily eyes the masked man. "Stay back! Who are you? Why are you wearing a mask?" The man displays a harmless smile and raises both hands. "My name is Johann. I'm a traveling bard. I wear a mask because my face was disfigured by injury, and I fear frightening others." Belle's nervous heart relaxes slightly. "I apologize for mentioning your pain. I just encountered bandits and am a bit on edge. Please don't come any closer." Johann responds with kindness. "It's fine. Judging by your attire, you must be a noble lady. How can I help you?" Belle thinks about William and the others who witnessed her jump off the cliff. They must be terrified. She doesn't know their situation. If only Agus were here. As soon as this thought surfaces, Belle realizes she has completely fallen for him. Just being apart for a short while, she already misses him. No, she can't rely on a villain. "Sir, I got separated from my knights and injured my foot so I can't walk. Could you go to the cliff top and notify them to come get me? If there's no accident, they should still be waiting. Show them this badge and they'll follow you." Johann readily agrees. After he leaves, Belle calls out to the system. She had hoped the system could heal her foot injury, but it turns out to be utterly useless. Belle learns from the system that after completing its tasks, it will move on to the next book world, while Belle remains to continue living in this world. Since she cannot leave, Belle resolves to develop her business, complete more missions, and earn more rewards for her retirement. The system also mentions that while it cannot chat, it can broadcast scenes from elsewhere. Belle immediately feels guilty. "I'm just a passerby. Why should I care about the protagonist's whereabouts?" But as the system turns to leave, Belle quickly grabs it. "Check on Agus's situation." Blushing, she lowers her voice. "He's going to war, and I've never seen what a battlefield looks like." The system mocks her. "Just admit you miss him." After all, the villain's charm is no less than the male protagonist's. Belle's face reddens further as she tugs forcefully at the system. "Stop talking nonsense. Start streaming now." Connection successful. Through the screen, Belle sees Agus discussing military intelligence. Suddenly, Agus looks directly toward them. "Who's spying on me?" Belle and the system are startled. "Trouble. We've been discovered." Caught watching her crush, the usually proud Belle becomes flustered. Fortunately, after some quick operations by the system, Agus finds no trace of them. His magic dissipates, and a subordinate asks in confusion, "Lord Agus, did you see something?" To his subordinate's question, Agus's gaze deepens. "Perhaps it was my imagination." Continue. After disconnecting the feed, Belle remains shaken. As expected of Agus, he can even sense the system's existence. To avoid being caught, Belle abandons the idea of watching further. Knowing he's currently safe is enough. Night approaches, and Belle still hasn't seen Johann return. Could he have run off with her gold badge? It's getting cold. If no one comes to rescue her within half an hour, she'll have to find her own way out. Just then, Belle hears movement. People sent by her stepmother. To obtain the sugar-making method, they want to capture Belle alive. Belle's heart pounds with tension. Eventually, they discover her. Belle's only weapon is a wooden stick. "Stay back! But as they close in, Belle runs out of options. Fortunately, Orlando arrives just in time. Belle stares blankly at the bandits fallen before her. Only when Mill throws himself into her arms does she finally regain her senses. Orlando has dealt with all the assassins. The carriage train remains in place, and the knights have kept watch over the servants. Belle trusts the two men more now. They could have fled when she fell off the cliff, but chose to stay. They seem trustworthy and loyal. Similarly, she survived thanks to Aegis's ring. Belle decides that if they meet again, she will no longer avoid her feelings. Johann returns Belle's badge. Without him, Belle would have been doomed. Thank you. What reward would you like? Johann Smill. Anything? Belle starts to say he won't do anything immoral, but Johann bends down and expresses his wish to become her male servant. I want to be your manservant. I'll do whatever you ask. Because only by staying with Belle can he discover the truth about how the divine prophecy was overturned. Currently, various countries covet the Holy Child's power, each wanting to claim a Holy Child to dominate the region. The temple prophesied 3 candidates: Holy Child Milclu of the Louisville Kingdom, Holy Child Georgie Arundel of the Charlemagne Empire, and the Holy Child of the Frey Empire. To eliminate the other countries' holy children, the Frey Empire has infiltrated various royal courts, deliberately inciting wars. Mill's Louisville Kingdom is the first target for subjugation. Interestingly, in the Holy Child struggle, a discarded pawn was saved by a small earl, something Johann has never witnessed in thousands of years. When Belle suggests getting Johann's family's consent, Johann interrupts her. I have no family, my lady. Belle feels sorry for him, and since he saved her life, you may stay and follow me. Johann gently kisses Belle's hand. From today onward, I entrust everything to you. He begins to anticipate what surprises Belle will bring next. The group gathers around the campfire, and Belle ponders who sent the attackers. Orlando explains, one group was sent by your stepmother, the other consisted of well-trained knights. Belle never questioned Mill's identity, assuming those knights were from nobles coveting her sugar-making method. She is so kind that Mill no longer wants to hide the truth. My lady, there's another possibility. The second group came to kill me. Orlando is shocked. Your Highness is going to reveal everything. If Lady Belle learns what conflict she's been dragged into, she'll surely refuse to help anymore. But Belle laughs. Why would anyone hunt you down? Even if you offended a noble, I've purchased you already. He won't take revenge on you. Don't worry. Mill is about to reveal his identity when Belle interrupts him again. Who you were before doesn't matter. Now you're my person, and I'll protect you with all my might. Belle strokes his forehead, her eyes showing compassion. This child must have suffered greatly after becoming a prisoner of war, making him so insecure. Mill looks at her with gratitude. When pursued by bandits, she could have pushed him away to buy time, but instead, she let him escape first. Lady Belle is the person he most wants to serve. If the Holy Child's power can help her, Mill willingly becomes her blade. Belle hands her badge to Orlando, instructing him to report her death at the Karen Earldom tomorrow. She wants to see what schemes they'll devise. After settling everything, Belle's brows suddenly furrow. Johann has been staring at her since earlier. Belle can't help feeling uncomfortable. Johann, won't you come warm yourself by the fire? Johann doesn't hesitate. Observing Belle up close is exactly what he wants. Belle asks, puzzled, You've been watching me. Is there something on my face? Johann's reason is quite perfunctory. Perhaps because you're so beautiful. Belle actually believes him, her eyes showing compassion. His face is disfigured, so he probably envies those with intact features. She shouldn't have touched on his pain. So Belle tries to change the subject. Johann, thanks to you, I escaped danger. Johann attributes their meeting to the goddess's blessing. Belle bluntly states she's an atheist. Be careful with such words, my lady. If the church heard this, you would become a sinner. Johann then smiles. But she's probably not afraid, being someone who dared to say in the temple that God isn't omnipotent. Magic cultivates mages and believes natural forces can be harnessed by humans. Man can conquer heaven. The church preaches that everything is God's gift and God is the ruler of all things. What do you think, my lady? The Holy Church and Magic Tower are elements not detailed in the original story. Belle only learned from Georgie during her temple visit. These two forces are above the imperial power of the Empire. The Church and the Demon Tower are incompatible. The reason allegedly involves the death of the Frey Empire's crown princess. The crown princess was the Pope's only student, but she died at the hands of the Pope, and her body was never found. The Magic Tower Master, who loved the princess, sought revenge for his beloved woman, forever positioning himself against the Church. Thinking about these entanglements of love and hatred gives Belle a headache, so Belle tells him a story. Guanyin, though a deity, worshipped her own statue. To human confusion, Guanyin explained that although she's a goddess, she too faces difficulties. But she knows it's better to rely on oneself than others. Belle's eyes fill with confidence. I don't believe in gods or supernatural forces. I believe all problems we encounter must ultimately be solved by ourselves. Johann's gaze falters momentarily. Then he chuckles. Interesting. This is the first time I've heard such a perspective. Suddenly there's movement in the bushes. Orlando instinctively draws his sword. Who's there? But it was Aegis who came out with his wounds looking all over the place. Belle immediately tends to his wounds. Aegis explains that he sent trusted men to protect Belle but still let her get hurt. Belle hadn't realized she had the villain's eyes watching her. Mentioning them makes Agus's mood worsen. Don't look for them. I've sent them back for punishment. So many people protecting one person, yet they let you fall off a cliff and get injured. Completely useless. As Belle tends to Agus's wounds, she pleads on the confidant's behalf. Well, don't blame them. Next time something like this happens, please believe I can handle it myself. She adds with some guilt. If you weren't rushing back to save me, you wouldn't have been severely injured on the battlefield. I feel like I'm holding you back. Agus pauses, then affectionately pats Belle's head. Don't say that. My battlefield injury was due to my carelessness, not because of you. Don't blame yourself. Seeing Belle unconvinced, Agus leans his forehead against hers. Actually, it's because of you that I have more motivation to protect this country. Before meeting you, I never thought interacting with a noble lady could be meaningful. Only you burst into my world, repeatedly bringing me surprises and making my heart race. This might make me seem weak, but I can no longer imagine a future without you. Hearing his words of affection, Belle feels her heart racing. Can she really get close to him? She hesitates internally, but in this moment, she doesn't want to push him away. As Agus's face draws closer, Belle doesn't reject his kiss. Her face burns intensely. Agus smiled genuinely. This time, you finally didn't reject me. I'm happy. Belle blushes as she urges him to put on his clothes. But Agus simply shrugs. I'm injured. Help me dress. Belle feels like she's unlocked some strange switch. Johan watches the flirtatious pair with confusion. Who is he? Mill gossips excitedly, looking toward the couple. The lady's lover, Orlando, immediately corrects him. Don't talk nonsense. Just the lady's friend. Learning he is Agus, eldest son of the Lassam family, Johan's interest in Belle intensifies. The legendary cursed monster family that cannot unite with ordinary women. Orlando can't help giving Johan a second look. You know quite a lot. Is this person's appearance in the lady's life really a coincidence? I sense an inviolable quality about him. Johan explains that as a traveling bard, he naturally keeps up with noble gossip. Orlando interrupts him. Privately discussing our masters is improper. That's enough. But Johan's interest hasn't diminished at all. The Lassam family of the Charlemagne Empire? I heard the Frey Empire used the Royal Trading Company to approach Hill Lassam, using help against his half-brother as bait. Attempting to use others to eliminate the Charlemagne Empire's holy child, Georgie Arundel. This countess has quite remarkable people around her. Things are getting more interesting. After much fuss, Agus finally tells Belle his wounds are fine. Looking at the pouting Belle, his expression is full of fondness. The war isn't over yet. Be good and wait for my return. But Belle can't help worrying. Be careful with your wounds on the road. And next time, no matter what news you hear about me, please don't worry. Look, I have the ring you gave me for protection. I'll be fine. Only then does Agus smile. He grips Belle's hand tightly. I'll end this war quickly and return triumphant. Then I'll propose to you again. I hope you'll consider it carefully during this time. I won't force you into any decision. Belle doesn't understand why he's so good to her. A side character and villain can't have a future together. But Agus's gaze is particularly determined. Every time you reject me, I'll ask again. If you reject me 100 times, I'll ask 100 more times. No matter what, I will never give up on you. Never. Back in Genus, Belle secretly attends her own funeral. Her stepmother hypocritically sobs over the wooden coffin, while the conspiring butler pretends to console her sorrowfully. To outsiders, the stepmother appears to be a tragic woman who lost her husband and then her daughter in succession. But facing away from everyone, the stepmother reveals an evil smile. That girl is finally dead. The butler reminds the stepmother it's time to bury Belle. She then pretends to stagger to her feet. Belle watches the conspiring pair, unable to suppress a smile. I never imagined I'd attend my own funeral. How interesting. The priest begins chanting scriptures while the stepmother continues fake crying. Just then a voice rings out, "My, what's drawing such a crowd?" The familiar voice startles the stepmother. Belle Karen's tomb? I'm alive and well. Why am I being given a funeral? Seeing Belle, the stepmother collapses to the ground, too shocked to speak. You? Belle raises an eyebrow. What mother surprised to see me? The stepmother immediately becomes flustered. No, Belle! Then she grips the butler's sleeve and demands, "What's going on?" The butler also stands frozen. The servant returned the family crest and reported her death. How could this happen? People begin to murmur. How could a dead person suddenly return? Belle uses her authority as family head to calm the rumors. Everyone, I apologize. Today was a misunderstanding that made you come all this way to witness this farce. This is a private Karen family matter. We'd like to handle it privately. Please return home. Back at the mansion, the stepmother repeatedly protests her innocence. It was all Ash Foreman's doing. He hired assassins to kill you. It has nothing to do with me. Then Butler Foreman begins kneeling and explaining that the stepmother ordered everything. The once conspiring pair now blame each other. Belle watches expressionlessly. So love is truly unreliable. In this world, only relationships based on interest are eternal. Just when Johan expects Belle to kill both of them, she merely breaks Foreman's legs and sells him to the slave market. As for her scheming stepmother, Belle lets her stay in the Earl's mansion until she gives birth, then orders her to leave this home. It's because of the child in her womb that Belle has kept her safe until now. Johan is confused. Just like that? You won't kill her? Belle looks surprised. Johann, you always seem so gentle and harmless. I didn't expect you to have such tyrannical thoughts. Johann pauses slightly but shows no displeasure. Tyrannical? She's probably the only person in the Empire who dares evaluate me this way. With the Earl being so merciful, the people of Gina's territory are blessed. Looking at Belle, Johann can't help being lost in thought. This kindness resembles his student very much. If that child were still alive, she'd be about Belle Karen's age now. At this moment, Orlando assembles all the servants of the earldom. Belle scans the crowd, her eyes carrying intimidation. I'm not one to hold grudges, because I settle scores immediately. Anyone who has been disloyal may leave the Earl's mansion now. From today forward, remember this. I am the only master of the Karen earldom. Meanwhile, August returns to the battlefield with the medicine Belle gave him, attracting the attention of Duke Lassam. Where did you get these medicines? Made by a friend. Duke Lassam is clearly surprised. You have friends? From childhood, Agus has always been a loner, maintaining a stern face even with family. What kind of person would willingly befriend him? I'd really like to meet this friend of yours sometime. Recalling Belle's concern at their parting, Agus's eyes gain a hint of tenderness. Perhaps another time. Duke Lassam can't stop praising the medicine. The healing power of these potions is even stronger than the church's holy water. If applied on the battlefield, it would make my Lassam knights invincible. Ask your friend if they're willing to sell the medicine to us? Agus looks somewhat stunned. Currently, Belle has returned to her territory and has been working non-stop in her study for a day and night. For nearly a month, she's been busy organizing the affairs of the Karen mansion. As a competent office worker in her previous life, Belle is accustomed to long working hours. Johann and Green begin reporting their respective work. Genus's sugar business, with royal support, has been sold to various regions and is extremely popular. At this rate, Genus will soon become the Empire's wealthiest region. Johann's gaze deepens. Who would have thought this little one wasn't just for show, using a newly established business to break the church's thousands of years of monopoly on the honey industry? Meanwhile, Orlando has received knight forces sent by the king. After that assassination attempt, the king learned Genus lacked a proper knight order and sent Belle a 10-man knight force under the pretext of protection. Since the newcomer's purpose is unclear, Belle decides to meet them proactively. Belle enters the hall only to find the uninvited Georgie. Marquis Arundel, you've come all this way just to see me? Georgie explains he has missed Belle greatly and came with a knight force to visit, but Belle only arranges accommodations for the knight force. Georgie steps forward and points to himself. What about me, Lady Belle? Belle maintains a cold demeanor. Marquis Arundel, Genus's living conditions are harsh. Please return to the capital soon. Georgie immediately appears dejected. Are you sending me away? I'm so hurt. But Belle directly interrupts him. Marquis Arundel, I've already made myself clear. I appreciate your favor, but I won't marry. If you wish to ally with me, you must marry into the Karen family. As a marquis, you need— Barely had she finished speaking when she was interrupted by Georgie's "I agree." Belle was startled. Georgie appeared exceptionally sincere. I am willing to marry into the Karen family. Miss Belle, would you marry me? Johann, standing behind Belle, flashed a hint of amusement in his eyes. Things were becoming more interesting. She does not consent. Agus's voice rang out. Belle immediately looked delighted and gave Agus an appraising glance. Good, he appeared healthy. He must have been safe during this time. Agus, why are you here? The villain's eyes softened as they met Belle's gaze. Because I wanted to see you immediately, so I rushed here. He said this while cupping Belle's head and pulling her into his embrace to assert his claim. It seems I've arrived just in time. Lord Arundel, please show restraint. I have already requested the king to bless my marriage to Miss Belle, Georgie said. Hearing this, Georgie panicked. Do you know what this means? He hadn't expected Agus to withdraw from the succession struggle. How absurd. Was he also coveting the sugar business profits? Agus gazed tenderly at Belle. I have no reason to lie about such matters. I wrote to the king requesting our marriage while I was on the battlefield. Now that I've returned with military merit, His Majesty will surely not refuse. If Belle had been wavering before, she was now completely won over by the villain. After all, in the original story, inheriting the family leadership was Agus's ultimate goal. Georgie glanced at Belle, his eyes still showing a glimmer of hope. Miss Belle, does the Karen family truly wish to align with the Lassam family? Or perhaps I should ask, is Lord Lassam willing to marry into the Karen family as I am? Agus, however, agreed without hesitation. Even if it meant giving up the position of family head, Belle was enough for him. The system began issuing warnings. Main storyline deviation detected. Villain's ultimate goal changed. Fate of protagonists affected. Please use plot correction authority immediately. Belle clenched her hand. What happens if I don't correct it? Agus has done so much for me. I cannot let him sacrifice alone. The cold mechanical voice dashed all Belle's hopes. If the protagonist's destiny loses the villain's influence, the world could collapse at any moment. You will die. Value your life. Please correct the plot immediately. In the end, Belle couldn't give Agus an answer, and this matter left her troubled, until Johann brought her hot water. He wanted to understand what was troubling the usually capable Belle. Seeing his willingness to listen, Belle finally revealed her dilemma. Johann, let's say hypothetically, if being with your beloved would destroy the world, would you choose brief love or save the world and live on? For Johann, who had lived for 1,000 years, the world had long lost its appeal. If it were me, I would probably choose brief love. Belle was startled. I didn't expect you to be so brave. Aren't you afraid of death? Johann, however, seemed remarkably calm about death. My lord, rather than spending a future in emptiness, it's better to live passionately in the present. The present determines the future, and the future might change because of it. Hearing this, Belle fell into deep thought, unconsciously murmuring, can the future change because of the present? To defy the system and have a passionate love affair with Aegis, Belle quickly organized the character relationships and main storyline in her mind. There must be another way. Now, as the villain character, Aegis had reformed, causing the world in the book to start collapsing. If the book's world were to stabilize and achieve the protagonist's ending, perhaps there was still one solution. Belle suddenly had an epiphany. She would become the villain herself. With this thought, Belle immediately rose to find Aegis. She wanted to acknowledge Aegis's feelings properly, but at the door she worried he might be tired after returning from war. Belle steadied her breathing. Since she had determined her future path, expressing her feelings could wait a moment, but the door suddenly opened, and Aegis pinned her against the wall. Since you've come, why are you leaving? Coming to see me early in the morning. Are you planning to reject my proposal from yesterday? I expected that, but I won't give up. Belle quickly interrupted him. No, that's not it. I accept your proposal. Aegis froze. What? Belle took his face in her hands. Aegis, look at me. Listen to what I'm saying. I've decided to marry you. Aegis spoke with disbelief. You're not joking, are you? I'll take you seriously. Belle immediately pouted in displeasure. Aegis, am I the kind of person who jokes about such things? Are you going to? Aegis interrupted her, barely concealing his excitement. Belle, I'm so happy I feel my heart might stop beating. Aegis now had eyes only for Belle. From today on, for the rest of my life, I belong only to you. He said this while kissing Belle's soft lips. You must take responsibility for me. With both love and career now having direction, Belle gathered everyone at the Earl's mansion, her expression extremely solemn. Everyone knows I've just inherited the current Earl title, becoming the new Lord of Genas. However, the differences between earldoms are vast. Unfortunately, Genas ranks at the bottom. Not only is it poor and backward, but it also has a sparse population and no army. Venturing outside means being bullied. But I've already thought of solutions to these problems. Then she pointed to Argus behind her and said, let me introduce to you all, the person next to me is the young Duke of Rassam, who is also my fiancé. The others around her showed various expressions. Mill was excited. Miss, you're getting married? Aegis promised that after marriage, he would fully assist Belle in rebuilding Genas. Johann was puzzled. Is the Earl planning to join the Lassam family and merge territories? If this girl ultimately chooses to rely on marriage to attach to another family, that would be too uninteresting. Belle explained. Genas will always remain independent and will not be incorporated into any territory. I will fully support the young Duke of Lassam in becoming the family head, and he will become Genas's most reliable ally in the future. To maintain the main storyline, Aegis must compete for the position of family head, while Belle would take his place in dealing with the male protagonist. Johann was slightly moved. To condescend to this extent, it seems this young Duke truly loves Belle. Belle cleared her throat. Although we found a powerful ally, to avoid being bullied, only having our own strong force will suffice. Therefore, I plan to recruit commoners and slaves to join the Genas Knights Order, thereby enhancing our territory's military capability and supporting it through commerce. This statement caused an uproar. For legitimate knights, allowing slaves to join the Knights Order was an insult to knightly honor. Belle calmly explained, I understand everyone's feelings. Not everyone can become a knight. It requires various training from childhood, learning the spirit of knighthood, having a complete knighting ceremony, and swearing an oath before the Creator God. I know that for you, being a knight is not just an identity but an honor. But without solid strength behind you, you will still be looked down upon by knights of the same rank when you go out. And if other knights' orders invade, you will have no chance of winning. Warfare here depends entirely on each territory's knight's order. The Charman Empire has 3 major knights' orders. They are all on the scale of 10,000 men and guard the front lines of the country. Although Genas is poor, slaves can become freemen by accumulating merits, and continue to rise by accumulating more merits. The same applies to commoners. After screening, they will become reserves and receive training from regular knights. You will hold important positions in the Knight's Order, evaluating whether these commoners and slaves qualify to become knights and enjoy higher treatment than in the royal capital. Orlando was shocked by Belle's idea. My lord, are you sure you want to do this? This is unprecedented. Doing this might cause a nationwide sensation. Belle did not hesitate at all. It doesn't matter. I rule my territory. With the plot development up to now, there's still time to prepare. We must have enough strength to contend with the original male protagonist. Only then could she become the new villain to replace Aegis's position. She would protect her man herself. Finally, one more announcement. When the Genus Knight's order exceeds 10,000 men, I will hold my wedding with the young Duke of Lassam. Belle began her populist actions as soon as she took office, receiving unanimous acclaim from the commoners. Aegis, however, believed that as a lord, one should be more forceful to instill fear and prevent disorder. Belle explained that her father's long-term alcoholism had severely damaged the Karen family's reputation among the people. She had alleviated the territory's economy by developing the sugar industry and barely stabilized public sentiment by recruiting soldiers and bringing in population. The subjects found their lord amiable only because she had brought them benefits. Belle couldn't help but mock herself after all. Who would be eager to please an underage, useless female earl? Aegis took Belle's hand and unhesitatingly said, "I would." Belle was stunned, but Aegis was particularly serious. "Even if you had nothing, I still would." Belle couldn't help but blush and quickly changed the subject. "Lord Aegis, aren't you going home?" After all, the male protagonist is currently at home showing great enthusiasm to the Duke of Lassam. Aegis's sweet talk continued one after another. "Wherever you are is my home. As for the Duke's mansion, trust me, my stepmother and brother don't wish to see me appear." But Belle insisted on sending him home. Aegis couldn't help feeling aggrieved. "Why? Do you want to get rid of me?" Belle's expression immediately became grave. "If you don't go back, the position of family head will soon fall to your brother. Didn't you promise me you would become the head of Lassam?" Aegis then remembered his mission. During his absence, Hill had reportedly been very successful in noble circles, gaining fame. He reluctantly decided to return home. Having convinced Aegis, Belle also began preparing her own plans. According to the original plot progress, during Aegis's absence at war, Hill had widely associated with nobles and privately met with Baker, the chairman of the Frey Royal Chamber of Commerce, establishing a dark cooperation. The Frey Royal Chamber of Commerce would provide guarantees for Hill's small business, helping him open sales channels to other countries, supporting him to grow stronger and become the next head of Lassam. However, in exchange, Hill needed to assist the Frey Empire in eliminating Georgie, the only heir to the Charlemagne Empire's throne. The grand finale of this story was that the male protagonist Hill helped the Frey royal family overthrow the Charlemagne Empire's rule, making it a vassal state of the Frey Empire. Hill was plotting not just for the position of Lassam family head, but for the entire country. If left unchecked, Gina's would also ultimately fall into the male protagonist Hill's pocket. Belle was unwilling to be a stepping stone for others. Before the male protagonist's nation-building storyline succeeded, she must make Gina's an impregnable fortress. Suddenly, her thoughts were interrupted by Aegis's caressing hand. "Stop frowning. Indeed, we can't let my brother continue playing around." Meanwhile, Hill's terms of exchange with the Frey Royal Chamber of Commerce had changed to Belle's sugar-making technique. Because of the emergence of white sugar, the interests of the Frey Royal Chamber of Commerce had been severely impacted. Hill couldn't help but panic. "We previously agreed that I only needed to assist you in eliminating the Charlemagne Empire's heir. There was no such additional condition." The man arrogantly replied, "Lord Lassam, there is no fairness in business. If you're not satisfied with this condition, we can terminate our cooperation." Hill couldn't help but be annoyed. This sugar-making technique was devised by that woman. Now many nobles were eyeing it covetously. No wonder Aegis had pursued her so relentlessly before. It seemed he had known about the existence of the sugar-making technique all along and wanted to claim it for himself. Damn it, after countless calculations, he had fallen prey to a woman. Seeing that the other party was about to terminate the cooperation, Hill immediately agreed. "I will obtain the sugar-making technique." To act before Aegis, Hill immediately prepared visiting cards, planning to see Belle and Gina's the day after tomorrow. For this, he even declined a date with the female protagonist Heidi. Hill recalled that Heidi seemed to have a good relationship with Belle. To prevent Belle from refusing his visiting card, Hill decided to bring Heidi along to visit her. Sure enough, when Heidi arrived, Belle personally came out to welcome her. As Hill passed by Johann, he sensed a powerful magical fluctuation. Hill became more vigilant. "Who are you?" Johann looked harmless. "As you can see, I'm just a servant of the Earl." Hill suppressed his doubts and ate the pastries Belle offered. His thoughts churned. He had indeed underestimated her before. She was like an inexhaustible treasure, surprising him with each meeting, though often the surprise outweighed the pleasure. Heidi sincerely praised the deliciousness of the pastries. "I would definitely buy them if they were for sale." "Miss Belle, you're so skilled." Looking at the pure and kind girl before her, Belle felt Hill didn't deserve her. Heidi brought a sweet pastry to Hill's lips. Hill glanced at Belle. He couldn't let her see his feelings for Heidi yet. To obtain the sugar-making technique, he needed to temporarily exploit her previous feelings for him. He coughed lightly. "You're being disrespectful, Miss Montbaton." Hearing this, Heidi froze. Realizing she had just tried to feed Hill pastries in front of Miss Belle, would this cause trouble for her family? As she felt ashamed and at a loss, Belle rose and approached Heidi. "Since Lord Hill won't eat it, then Miss Heidi feed me instead." She smiled and said, "Miss Heidi, may I have the honor?" Belle held her retracted wrist and gently bit into the pastry. Heidi was immediately touched. Miss Belle was helping her out of an awkward situation again. She was truly a good person. Belle began to show off. Indeed, the same iced sugar strawberries taste better when fed by Miss Heidi. Hill felt as if he was being provoked. Belle then looked at Hill. Lord Hill mentioned important business in his visiting card. What could it be? To make him come all the way to Gina's and bring Heidi along, he must be up to no good. Hill directly expressed his interest in the sugar business. Belle thought he had learned about her recruitment of regional agents. This meant supplying merchants with goods below market price for them to distribute and sell white sugar. Hill, however, proposed to be the general agent, outwardly saying Belle would be responsible for making sugar while he would handle sales, with a 50-50 split, but actually intending to obtain the sugar-making technique. How could Belle not know what he was thinking? But she turned around and asked what Heidi would do. Heidi looked at Hill with adoration in her eyes. I would. Lord Hill has helped me a lot. If he needs it, I'll support him in whatever way I can. Hill was immediately touched. In this world, only Heidi truly cared for him. Belle unexpectedly had to witness their affection. But Hill hadn't forgotten his ultimate goal. By controlling the entire Charlemagne Empire's sugar sales, the Frey Chamber of Commerce would have to be constrained by him. Belle, however, directly refused him. Because there's also a very important man in my life. Whatever he wants, as long as I have it, I'm willing to give it to him. Hill's eyes showed reluctance. May I ask who it is? First it was himself, then Aegis. Aegis had barely been gone to the battlefield, and Belle Karen fell in love with someone else again. Aegis suddenly appeared. No need to ask. I am her man, Hill. Long time no see. He then embraced Belle tightly, asserting his claim. It's because I missed you so much that I rushed back after completing my tasks. He then put on a pitiful expression. Don't you miss me? Belle immediately blushed. When was this guy become tender-hearted? Heidi was shocked, covering her lips. Lord Hill's brother had just kissed Miss Belle. Watching the couple's romantic banter, Hill's face darkened. Why is brother here? Didn't he just return home to handle father's assigned tasks? Aegis looked at Hill with a haughty expression. I came to see my fiancé. Do I need to report to you? Hill looked incredulous. Fiancé? Brother! Are you crazy? Then, suppressing the complex emotions in his heart, brother, stop joking. The Karen Earl is not a Saint Tyrande. Aegis didn't want to deal with him and began playing with Belle's hand. Seeing this, Hill started to drive a wedge between them. Countess Karen, you're young and may not have heard about our family's marriage conditions. Due to the special constitution of the Lassam family, we can only marry women from specific lineages. He then looked at Aegis with a sarcastic expression. Brother, haven't you been frank with Countess Karen about these things? Are you simply toying with her feelings? He then waited for Belle to get angry with his brother. Unexpectedly, Belle remained exceptionally calm. Lord Hill, you misunderstand. I know all of this. Just as I know, Lord Hill approaches Miss Heidi because she is a Saint Tyrande, and only by marrying her can you become the next head of the Lassam family. Seeing his intentions exposed, Hill began to nervously explain to Heidi. Heidi said she believed him but secretly clutched her dress tightly. She blamed everything on herself. As the unimpressive daughter of the Montbaton family, being used was her greatest value. But Belle didn't intend to stop there. If I were Miss Heidi, no matter how much I liked him, I wouldn't marry Lord Hill. Heidi was stunned. Why? Belle's advice came from the heart. Men with strong career ambitions often don't get too emotional. Once they have certain power and status, love becomes a tradable chip for them. So girls must learn to love themselves and not be easily deceived by men's sweet talk. Enhance yourself to become someone who cannot be ignored. Besides knowledge and cultivation, you also need certain wealth. In the original story, the female protagonist was portrayed as an innocent damsel character, with numerous handsome men and opportunities revolving around her. But as the male protagonist's woman, her future opponent would no longer be August but Belle, the new villain. Belle would not be affected by Heidi's protagonist halo, so before becoming adversaries, Belle hoped she would have strength matching her own. So Belle proposed that the female protagonist work at her Chamber of Commerce. Heidi was somewhat hesitant, concerned that her father wouldn't allow it. Hill directly interrupted her refusal, offering to persuade the Duke of Montbaton himself. Hill wanted to use Heidi to get close to Belle, thereby obtaining first-hand information. Watching their departing figures, Belle knew well his intention to use Heidi. Aegis was somewhat lost in Hill's words. Although he didn't know what Hill was trying to do, Belle could only be his. He obsessively inhaled Belle's scent. What are you planning now? Belle revealed a meaningful smile. A stronger enemy presents more of a challenge, doesn't it? Aegis lowered his voice. But I'm already facing the greatest challenge of my life. Belle was startled, but Aegis hugged her and whispered in her ear. Seeing Countess Karen makes it hard to control the joy in my heart. Can Countess Karen think of a solution? A few days later, Genus Territory's recruitment of knights in training from other places met with resistance from major nobles. The villain personally stepped in to suppress it. Belle learned of this. Aegis, however, appeared particularly calm. It's a small matter. This is what a fiancé should do. After all, my woman is destined for great things. I just need to assist. Hearing these words from the villain, Belle immediately blushed, her heart pounding. In my heart, you're also the most formidable man. Seeing Belle shy before him, Aegis was momentarily entranced. He then mentioned Heidi's coming to the Chamber of Commerce, concerned that Hill might use her to eavesdrop on chamber secrets. Belle was already prepared. After all, what could be eavesdropped on would certainly be things of little technical value. Belle was more curious about how far the female protagonist could grow. The next day, Heidi marveled at the grandeur of the Chamber of Commerce. Everyone wore the same clothes, which was quite special. Belle explained these were work uniforms for chamber staff, making it easy to distinguish between customers and staff. Suddenly, a servant brought Heidi rose tea. Heidi admired Belle even more for turning ornamental flowers into tea. Everything in the chamber was unlike anything Heidi had seen in other commercial establishments. Miss Belle is the same age as me, yet she knows so much. I wish I could be like Miss Belle. After admiration came sadness. Perhaps father would value me more. She then felt guilty that her father had asked her to obtain the sugar-making technique from Miss Belle. Belle held her hand enthusiastically, leading her to other places. Heidi felt the warmth of her palm and truly didn't want to become her enemy. Belle built the night training camp behind the Chamber of Commerce. When tired from work, you can enjoy the sight of handsome men with perfect abs for free. She pushed the shocked Heidi forward. Miss Heidi, you need to broaden your horizons. Only by seeing many excellent men will you not easily fixate on just one. This world is vast, you need to see it for yourself. Belle sincerely felt Hill didn't deserve her. Heidi nodded as if understanding. Suddenly catching sight of Agus sparring with Orlando, Heidi couldn't help but exclaim, "Miss Belle, your knight is so skilled! Lord Hill's brother is also amazing." Hearing his beloved's name, Agus was momentarily distracted, allowing him to fall into a disadvantage. Seeing this, Belle immediately looked worried. "Agus, are you all right? Are you injured? Did I distract you just now?" Orlando's sword still rested on Agus's neck. Belle immediately looked fierce. "William, quickly remove your sword!" Just as Belle was about to apologize, Agus pulled her into his embrace. "I didn't lose. I've already won what I truly wanted." Orlando beside them was inadvertently served a full plate of affection to witness. While Belle and the villain were being lovey-dovey, Mill noticed Heidi following Belle and thought she was a maid. He specifically instructed her to serve loyally and diligently, as the miss never mistreated those around her. Belle hurriedly explained that she was the youngest daughter of the Montbaton family and would work as her assistant in the Chamber of Commerce. Mill then forced an awkward smile. "I apologize, Miss Montbaton. Please don't be angry. You are very beautiful." Though in his heart he added, "Miss Belle is still the most beautiful person in this world." Being called beautiful for the first time, Heidi was pleasantly surprised. Next, Belle entrusted Mill to help Heidi understand the Chamber of Commerce. After they left, Belle began to inquire about the Knights Order's field exercises from Orlando. Learning that they could march to Black Bear Mountain at any time, Belle nodded with satisfaction. After the Chamber of Commerce sold sugar, the royal family gained substantial benefits. This was a good opportunity to propose to the king to incorporate Black Bear Mountain into genus territory. But the system, which had warned about the main storyline's collapse, hadn't come online, and she wasn't sure if the mineral vein reward from the last mission still counted. Agus approached, somewhat hesitantly. "Belle, when are you going to the mountain? If it's too early, I fear I can't protect you. Recently, the night rental contract between Lassam and Magic Tower has expired. Father said if I can successfully renew it, he'll acknowledge our marriage." Belle held his hand, interrupting him. "Thank you, Agus, but I don't care about others' opinions. As long as we stand by each other, that's enough." Even though Belle said this, Agus still wanted their relationship to be blessed. He didn't want Belle to experience those unblessed days. "Don't worry, Belle. Although there's friction with Magic Tower, they won't be too hard on me." But Belle remained concerned. After all, in this world, it was primarily those born with magical power who led. Among them, Magic Tower and the Temple were gatherings of magicians, with power comparable to the royal authority. In the original novel, Agus's mother was the sister of the Magic Tower leader. She had tried to change her constitution to become a Saint Tyrande, touching Magic Tower's taboo, thus falling out with her brother, the Magic Tower leader. When she married into the Lassam family, Magic Tower lent a batch of magic knights to the Lassam family. They helped Lassam establish military achievements, and have now become Lassam's main combat force. If the contract wasn't renewed, Lassam's position in the Empire would be shaken. Agus approached Belle, seeking comfort. "I must become the family head for your sake, so you need to give me more motivation." Belle blushed as he held her in his arms. "Nonsense! Becoming the family head has always been your wish." Agus explained that he had only wanted to prove his abilities to his father. Now, his obsession was solely with Belle. He kissed her forehead. "You are the first woman in my life and the only one." Belle's face burned. "Where did you learn these cheesy romantic lines?" She seriously suspected this guy had been reading some trashy romance novels, yet he maintained a serious demeanor. "Don't you like it?" Belle pushed him away. "Let go quickly. If someone sees, what will become of my image as an earl?" In a direction Agus couldn't see, Belle's face was completely red. What to do? She was just as cheesy, really loving Agus's sweet talk. Agus stroked her head, his eyes full of doting affection. "By the way, you're holding your 18th birthday coming-of-age ceremony and title succession ball together, right? Have you thought about what gift you want?" The next day, due to his papal identity, Johann had to request leave from Belle. But before leaving, he prepared a precious coming-of-age gift for Belle, a magic pet hamster, very cute in appearance, with a docile personality and a mouth with an extremely large storage space, perfect for storing Belle's personal items. Belle knew that magic pets were exorbitantly priced and even rarer than magicians. Although suspicious of Johan's identity, the hamster was too adorable. Belle named the hamster Rice Ball. Finally, it was time for the Magic Tower's triennial recruitment conference. In the original novel, the Magic Tower recruited apprentices from outside once every 3 years, establishing social relationships between the tower and nobles. Nobles would send their most talented children to the Magic Tower for further education. Those who graduated from the Magic Tower all became the right hands of their families. The female protagonist Heidi awakened her magic at the recruitment conference. Due to her outstanding performance, she was exceptionally accepted as a student by the Tower Master. This was the first opportunity for the female protagonist to transform from an unfavored countryside daughter into a talented magician who could compete with her sister for the position of family head. Thinking of this, Belle couldn't help but feel excited. Agus noticed the moving package in Belle's hands. "What's in your bag? Why is it constantly moving?" Belle took out Rice Ball. "Isn't it cute? This is the coming-of-age gift Johan gave me before he left." Hearing Belle say it was from the masked servant, Agus showed some doubt. How can a servant afford a rare magic pet? Although Belle suspected Johan's identity, she believed his hands were clean. "Never mind that. Don't you think it's adorable and cute?" Agus was almost drowning in jealousy. "Not cute at all." Belle immediately huffed in anger. "How can that be? It's clearly very cute." Agus suddenly launched into sweet talk again. "In my eyes, you are the cutest in the world." Belle immediately blushed. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Agus didn't even give the magic pet a second glance. "This is the truth. So I'm very unhappy that another man gave you a coming-of-age gift before me. I will give you something better." Belle hadn't expected him to be jealous over this. Just as she was about to speak, Agus interrupted her. "Don't refuse me, Belle. You deserve the best gifts in the world, not just a magic pet." Belle became resigned. Really? Jealous of a magic pet? Suddenly, Hill's voice came from behind. Belle turned to see the elaborately dressed Lasam family. Hill's mother spoke with a sarcastic tone. "So, this is Countess Karen? Indeed young and beautiful. No wonder she captured our Agus's heart." Belle directly ignored her and went to greet Duke Lasam. But Duke Lasam didn't give her face, his tone full of arrogance. "You are Belle Karen? The woman my son arbitrarily betrothed himself to." Duke Lasam still didn't know that this young girl he looked down upon would become one of the Empire's top figures in the future. In his view, Belle marrying Agus was ultimately marrying above her station. Hill's mother didn't miss the chance to add fuel to the fire. "I heard Miss Belle previously pursued Hill, and now she's involved with his brother. It seems you really yearn for our Lasam family." Belle wasn't to be outdone. "Madam, what I've always yearned for has never been the Lasam family, but the position as Agus's wife." Duke Lasam directly interrupted Belle. "Enough! Let bygones be bygones. Countess Karen, although Agus is fixated on you, I do not approve of your marriage." Belle didn't give up despite his rejection. "Then I must also tell you that I don't care about your attitude. This is my stance. For me, what Agus thinks is most important." Inside the Magic Tower, Agus looked at Belle with concern. "My father? Don't take it to heart." Belle was particularly carefree. "Don't worry, I'm fine. It's best if marriage receives the blessing of elders, but if not, it doesn't affect us, does it?" Agus was startled by her words, then smiled gently. "You're right." He tenderly embraced Belle, making the most sincere promise. "Belle, please believe me. Even without anyone's blessing, I will make you happy." Just as Belle was about to speak, she heard Heidi's voice. She instinctively pushed Agus away. "Miss Heidi, why are you alone?" "Father brought us to attend the Holy Crystal test today, but unfortunately, I have no magic power. Father took my sister for testing, so I'm just wandering around," said directly, wrapping her arm around Belle. "But I'm very happy to have met Miss Belle, and I spotted you instantly, Miss Belle. The St. Crystal test seems to be about to begin." Seeing Belle being taken away by Heidi, Agus can't help but frown. The younger daughter of the Montbaton family repeatedly hovering around Belle is truly irritating. In the original story, Agus would be deceived by illusions during the St. Crystal test. Seeing his miserable life from childhood to adulthood, being abandoned by his mother, ignored by his father, siblings turning against each other, his magic power going berserk as a result, causing the St. Crystal to disappear and plunging the entire Magic Tower into unprecedented crisis. But now the original plot has been altered beyond recognition. Will August still go berserk? The villain August's rampage was designed to set up the awakening of the heroine Heidi's magic power. Without this plot, the heroine would be completely useless. Belle only hopes everything goes smoothly. Years ago, due to the death of the Frey Empire's crown princess, the Magic Tower and Temple formally declared war, and the St. Crystal became a trophy used to test magic users' talent. The Temple tried various methods to reclaim the St. Crystal but failed. At this moment, Belle is only concerned whether Agus will go berserk during the test. Soon it is Agus's turn for testing. Belle appears particularly serious. Agus, remember, no matter what happens, I will face it with you. You are not alone. Agus doesn't understand why Belle is more nervous than he is about a simple test. But as soon as Agus's hand touches the Saint Crystal, negative emotions flood in like a tidal wave. Monster, ha ha ha. Unwanted little monster. Monster, we don't want to play with you. Little Agus's face is covered in tears. I'm not a monster. Suddenly, Belle's gentle voice comes through. Whose child are you? Why are you crying like a little kitten? Here, have a candy. No more crying, okay? Little Agus stares blankly at the beautiful big sister before him, even forgetting to continue crying. Little Agus tells the big sister before him that he was abandoned by his mother. And because he carries the family bloodline curse, he is treated as a monster by children his age. Belle strokes his head with sympathy. I'm not afraid of you. Not only that, I want to be your first friend. Would you like that? Little Agus immediately freezes on the spot, then refuses with a red face. When Belle is confused, he looks at her nervously. Don't just be friends. When I grow up, I want to marry you. Is that okay? Meanwhile, in the hall, the crowd begins to murmur as Agus's test still hasn't ended. Why isn't there any reaction? Is the Saint Crystal broken? Only Hill appears nervous. The Saint Crystal test determines one's mastery of magic power by measuring how long they take to overcome their inner nightmares. Why has Agus's test been going on for so long without any response? Or is he already so powerful? Suddenly, Agus's expression becomes grim. Belle anxiously watches in Agus's direction. Everything will be fine. Please, Agus, please don't turn dark and go berserk. In front of the Saint Crystal, Agus suddenly frowns, because in the illusion, Belle has rejected his proposal. Does she despise him like everyone else? Belle wipes away the tears on little Agus's face. No, how could I possibly despise you? It's just that I don't belong in this world. I'll be leaving soon. As Belle finishes speaking, her body begins to slowly dissipate. Little Agus can't control his tears, trying desperately to grab hold of Belle. Don't go! You're all I have in my world. But Belle has completely disappeared, and her voice gradually fades. I'm sorry I can't be with you as you grow up. Please be sure to become an upright person. But Agus can't hold on to her. Belle disappears completely, and little Agus's darkness level is maxed out. If you were going to leave, why did you enter my world? The Saint Crystal begins to show magic fluctuations. People around start to become tense. The Saint Crystal is being contaminated, and someone has already notified the Tower Master. Heidi is still accompanying Belle, though she doesn't understand why everyone is leaving. Hill wants to take Heidi away, but she struggles, wanting to stay by Belle's side. Hill clicks his tongue lightly and has no choice but to look at Belle. Countess Karen, let's go quickly. The Saint Crystal has been contaminated, and the entire magic tower might be swallowed. Agus is now lost in the Saint Crystal. He can't come back. Belle is devastated, but then her eyes become determined. No, he will definitely come back. Suddenly, the system's voice comes through, like a lifeline for Belle. Main quest initiated. Please help the heroine Heidi awaken her magic and become the Tower Master's student. Just by having Heidi touch the Saint Crystal, the purification of the illusion can awaken Agus. This is exactly what Belle needs. She grabs Heidi's wrist. Miss Heidi, I apologize, but you can't leave. Hill frowns at this. Countess Karen, what are you doing? The magic tower is dangerous now. Heidi has no magic power. Do you want her to die by keeping her here? But Belle's expression is particularly serious. She can go to your side anytime. After all, it's your destined fate. But only now, she cannot leave. Then she pulled Heidi closer to her arms. Now I need her help. Hill is somewhat annoyed. What is this woman made of such strength? Heidi, come to me. But Heidi hesitates. I'm sorry, Lord Hill, but Countess Belle needs me. I can't leave. The system is shocked by the heroine's choice. Host, what did you do while I was offline? The heroine is choosing not to be protected by the male lead in a life-threatening moment? This character setting deviates from the original story. At the mention of the original story, Belle wants to tear the system's mouth off. Hill's mother directly pulls Hill away. In the end, he reluctantly leaves Heidi behind. Watching the family of three flee, Belle feels even more sympathetic toward Agus. Agus is in critical danger, yet his so-called family doesn't think of saving him, only focused on escaping. Such family is better off without. No wonder Agus turns into a villain in the original story. If she grew up in such an environment, it would be difficult to maintain goodness. Countess Belle, what do you need me to do? The reason Heidi stays by Belle's side is because no one has ever truly needed her before. Her parents brought her back from the countryside only to use her for marriage alliances with other families, paving the way for her sister and family. Even Hill, whom she had thought really liked her at first, after Belle's mention, the feeling was clouded over and could never be wiped clean again. Only Belle is the first person to openly express her needs to her. Compared to the false pretense of being used, Belle makes Heidi feel like a truly useful person. Time is pressing. Belle directly tells Heidi that she has unawakened magic power inside her, and she only needs to touch the Saint Crystal to awaken it. Although Heidi doesn't understand what Belle is saying, she chooses to believe her without hesitation. Just touching the Saint Crystal can help Agus escape the illusion. This is the first time Heidi has seen Belle worried. Seeing that Belle trusts her so much, Heidi is even more determined to be as brave as Belle. On the other side, Duke Mountbatten instinctively looks for Heidi, only to see her about to touch the Saint Crystal. In everyone's view, approaching the contaminated Saint Crystal is equivalent to suicide. Heidi endures the pain of being cut by blades, struggling to approach the Saint Crystal. With a loud bang, the magic tower's chaos returns to calm. Heidi enters meditation, while August lies quietly on the ground. The worry on Belle's face doesn't diminish. Did it work? Seeing August just escaped from danger, Belle frantically rushes into his arms. August clearly doesn't know what happened. Until he sees Heidi dazedly holding the healing fragment, August finally rises to thank her. Belle also begins to smile. Thank you for saving August, Heidi. And congratulations on awakening your magic power. See, if you want to, you can do very well. But Heidi shakes her head. No, I should be thanking Countess Belle. If it weren't for Countess Belle, I wouldn't have awakened my magic power and I would have remained a burden to my family forever. Although she thinks it might be impolite, but how did Belle know she could awaken magic? Her question hasn't been voiced before being interrupted by Duke Mountbatten, who rushes over. Heidi, are you all right? Are you hurt? Let father see. Duke Mountbatten never expected Heidi to possess magic power, and such rare healing abilities at that. This would elevate the Mountbatten family's status in the Empire once more. The side character Sasha gnashes her teeth at the sight. How did this damn girl awaken magic power? Didn't she already take the test as a child? Just then, the arrival of the Tower Master interrupts everyone's thoughts. Suddenly, he sees August nearby. Why are you here too? I thought you disdained becoming my student. August's tone is particularly cold. That's because your thinking is narrow-minded. Belle examines the two of them. Sure enough, they are uncle and nephew, with quite a resemblance. But they are indeed not close, just as the book described. The Tower Master notices Belle, who is close to Aegis, and this young lady is... Belle bows to introduce herself, emphasizing that she is also Agus's fiancée. Belle's words cause the Tower Master to pause. You're engaged? He feels somewhat annoyed. Even if Agus hates him, shouldn't he at least notify him? Agus explains that the formal ceremony hasn't been held yet, as his father doesn't approve of their marriage. The Tower Master responds with a cold laugh. That sounds like him. Blood purists emphasize bloodline inheritance. How could he let his son marry a minor noble who is not from St. Trenty? At this moment, the magic mouse suddenly appears from Belle's shoulder. Seeing Belle scold the magic mouse for running around, the Tower Master is immediately shocked. Is that an English mouse? Unlike other magic familiars, it only submits to magic users stronger than itself. But this girl shows no magic power fluctuations. Could this child be concealing her magic power? But only top-tier magic users can do that. This child looks no more than a teenager. August doesn't like the way he stares at Belle and directly blocks him. You must have more important matters to attend to here, right? The Tower Master then begins to deal with the earlier disturbance. Nearby, Sasha believes this is a good opportunity to become the Tower Master's student. But the Tower Master looks at Heidi. I sensed powerful magic awakening. Was it you, child? Heidi immediately becomes flustered. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to the Saint Crystal disappearing. Duke Mountbatten directly shields Heidi. This might be a misunderstanding. Heidi's magic power isn't enough to destroy the Saint Crystal. Heidi feels touched. This is the first time her father has spoken up for her. But Duke Mountbatten is thinking about using Heidi's healing magic to revitalize the family. He absolutely cannot let anything happen to her. Regarding the Saint Crystal, the Tower Master doesn't care. A contaminated Saint Crystal has lost its value. I'm not here to blame anyone. Child, would you like to become my student? Heidi immediately freezes on the spot. Nearby, Sasha's face is full of jealousy. Damn countryside girl, just be a marriage tool? Why did you have to awaken magic power now? The others are also shocked by the Tower Master's words. Belle also receives a reward from the system, side story unlocked. Host will be promoted from a side character to the new female lead of the side story, responsible for maintaining the stability of the book world, and Johann, who had been posing as a male servant at Belle's side, has returned to the temple. I request punishment for losing track of the holy child of the Lual kingdom. But Johann had already arranged everything. Even the earlier Saint Crystal will return to the temple. Now, as the female lead of the side story, Belle looks troubled, maintaining the order of the book world and such. Just hearing it sounds troublesome. Belle only wants to protect her Aegis. Suddenly, Riceball appears anxious. Belle thinks it's feeling unwell, but then sees Riceball pull out a shining Saint Crystal from its mouth. Belle is shocked. How is the Saint Crystal in your mouth? Heidi is still feeling guilty about breaking it. So it was stolen by this little thing. Watching the little one pushing the Saint Crystal into her hand, Belle can't help but think deeply. In the original story, the Saint Crystal disappeared when the heroine woke up, but its whereabouts were never explained. And Riceball was given by Johann, right before entering the magic tower. This is too coincidental. Perhaps Aegis was right. They should investigate Johann's background. Belle puts down Riceball and sighs. I wonder how Aegis is doing. Going berserk during today's test must have been very damaging to his body. Just as the thought crosses her mind, she arranges for clean clothes, but wonders if it's too late to go find Aegis now. How about this one? Until a coat is draped over her shoulders. Belle hears Aegis's deep voice. Her face immediately reddens. Why are you here? Aegis quickly apologizes. After that incident today, I was worried about you, so I came to check on you. I really didn't expect my fiancé to give me such a treat. Belle's face quickly heats up, and she speaks frantically incoherent. Didn't the servants tell him she was bathing? This is so embarrassing. Just then, Belle suddenly slips. August quickly catches her, but is dragged into the pool with her. The tie at his neck is pulled off by Belle, revealing muscular pecs. Belle's face reddens another degree. Aegis's tone becomes playful. Falling isn't something to be taken lightly. But it's fair now. You've seen my body too. Now we're even, right? Don't be mad. Seeing Belle's panic, Aegis pauses slightly, moving closer. Belle, you smell so good. His voice becomes hoarser. What should I do? I really want to eat you up right now. His magnetic voice could make even ears pregnant. Belle frantically pushes him away. No, this is too sudden. I'm not ready yet. But August grips her wrist, with a bit of sadness in his eyes. Are you also afraid of the curse in my blood? Belle then remembers the bloodline curse Aegis carries, because they've never had intimate contact. She almost forgot that Aegis carries such a terrible thing, feeling sympathetic yet concerned about her future married life. After calming down, Belle gently touches August's large hand. I'm sorry, I didn't push you away because of the curse. Aegis looks like a small puppy afraid of being abandoned, really. Seeing him so insecure, Belle touches her forehead to his, of course. I was just surprised not rejecting you. Aegis then looks at Belle intently. I never thought of hurting you. Whether there's a curse or not, as long as you're unwilling, I will respect you. Looking at the sincere Aegis before her, Belle admits she's moved. Respect. This is something Belle never received from those who cared about her in her previous life. She actively grips Aegis's hand tighter, leaning against his chest and softly comforting him. Don't worry, we'll find a way to break the curse. Concerning future happiness, Belle becomes even more determined. Aegis directly lifts Belle at the waist. The water's cold. Let me help you get dressed. Feeling his calloused hands, Belle immediately blushes. No need. I'll dress myself. But as they speak, Aegis has already stood up. Be good. Don't move. How could I let my lady fiancé handle such small matters? Belle can't help but pout. Didn't you just say you'd respect me? Yet inside, she feels sweet. She really likes Aegis's forceful personality. The next day, Belle anxiously stares at the glutton magic mouse before her. At this rate, if she don't stop this little thing, it'll bankrupt the Karen family, right? Is Johann an undercover agent sent by enemies planning to destroy the Karen family from within? Then Orlando's appearance suddenly interrupts Belle's thoughts. Learning that the Tower Master is looking for her, Belle feels somewhat guilty. Has he detected that Rice Ball stole the Saint Crystal? But she has already hidden the Saint Crystal in the space provided by the system's reward, so he can't do anything about it. Regardless, the Tower Master is still Aegis's uncle, so she should show some respect. Belle welcomes him into the reception room. After all, Aegis still wants to renew the Magic Knight contract for the Lossum family, and she needs to help him. But the Tower Master on the sofa keeps staring at Mill. This child has the aura of magic power. A small count's manor with servants of such caliber? This further confirms his belief that Belle is extraordinary. Meanwhile, the Magic Tower's son Trantor has been waiting impatiently. When Belle arrives late, he immediately shows displeasure. You know it's disrespectful yet still keep us waiting so long? No wonder Aegis would take a liking to you. You're the same kind of arrogant person. Belle's tone instantly cools, arriving without an invitation card. The guests were rude first. You can't blame me for being rude in return. Moreover, speaking ill of my fiancé in front of me shows that your etiquette and upbringing are lacking. Please apologize. The typically arrogant Trantor is about to retort but is stopped by the Tower Master. Countess Karen, we were indeed rude. Then he commands his usually pampered son, Trantor, apologize to Countess Karen. Having always been spoiled, the Tower Master's son has never been subjected to such humiliation. He looks at his father in disbelief. Father, you want me to apologize to this woman? On what grounds? Belle knows that Trantor in the original story is a privileged brat who views Aegis as an enemy after being beaten up by him. Looking at Trantor, who firmly refuses to apologize, Belle really wants to beat him up immediately. The Tower Master rises to apologize, giving Belle plenty of face. But Belle feels sad about the Tower Master's excessive indulgence of Trantor, which has reached an appalling level. After reprimanding the rude Trantor, the Tower Master finally reveals his purpose for coming, learning that he wants to take Belle as his disciple. The first to oppose is Trantor. Belle appears troubled. You may have misunderstood something when you saw my magic familiar last time. Actually, I don't have any magic power. Besides, in the original story, the Tower Master only took Heidi as his student, although Heidi would probably be very happy about it. To avoid deviating from the main storyline, Belle politely declines his invitation. But the Tower Master is not deterred. Many people don't lack magic power. They just never awaken it throughout their lives. I can sense a powerful force hidden within you, Countess Karen. Perhaps I can help you draw it out. But Belle doesn't want to add more troubles for herself and declines again what everyone else would desire. Thank you very much for your kindness, but I'm not ready to study magic at the moment. As a result, Trantor flares up again. Ungrateful. Do you know how many people want to become my father's student? But Belle's refusal is particularly straightforward. The Tower Master still doesn't give up. Can you tell me the specific reason? He secretly wonders if this child has detected his true purpose. Belle finds his persistence quite troublesome. You see, I'm very busy managing my territory daily. I'm also preparing for the investiture ball and Black Bear Mountain mining. I really don't have time to study magic. Trantor again comments on her ungratefulness, then regrets it. Why is he persuading her? Isn't it better if she doesn't go? The Tower Master considers for a moment. I see. Countess Karen has heavy responsibilities at such a young age. I've been inconsiderate. Belle thinks he's about to leave, but the Tower Master announces a shocking decision. I'll have my son stay at Countess Karen's manor at your disposal. When Countess has free time, you can come to the magic tower to study magic with me. Trantor looks incredulous. Father, have you gone mad? I'm the future heir to your position. How can I be at a countess's beck and call? Conveniently, Belle is also reluctant to keep this troublemaker. I appreciate your goodwill, but I dare not impose on the young Tower Master. The Tower Master evidently didn't come up with this idea on a whim. If you don't mind, I hope Trantor can stay by your side and learn management from you. Treat him like a servant if you wish. In exchange, Countess Karen can come to the magic tower to learn magic from me anytime. I will teach you everything I know. Belle looks at the fuming Trantor and can't help but have mischievous thoughts. Since the Tower Master has personally requested, I will certainly guide the young Tower Master with all my heart. Trantor didn't expect her to actually agree and feels somewhat devastated. This means in the future he'll face two people he dislikes. He begins to beg his father to take him back, but his usually compliant father remains firm. Trantor can't help but look at Belle. His father has never looked at him this way. Who exactly is this woman? Under Trantor's gaze, Belle immediately smiles. By the way, Tower Master, there's something I'd like to request from you. The next morning, the girl half awake feels a hard chest. Immediately fully alert, looks up to see Agus's smiling face. Good morning, my sweetheart. Belle puts on her clothes with puffed cheeks. Agus follows behind, repeatedly apologizing. All right, don't be angry. I promise I'll never get into your bed without permission again. Belle finally acknowledges him. I'm not angry about that. You used teleportation magic to come to my home again, right? Your body hasn't recovered from the magic outburst yet. Do you want me to be a widow at a young age? Agus didn't expect her to be worried about his health. He can't help but rub his face against Belle's hand. You're always so good to me. Trantor passing by happens to see the sweet moment between them and awkwardly coughs. So early in the morning, you two seem quite leisurely. Seeing his sarcastic little cousin, Agus's face immediately sours. Belle can't help but worry. We're in trouble. Agus doesn't know Trantor is here yet. In the original story, these two never got along. Belle had to tell Argus the details truthfully. Agus frowns and questions Trantor. Belle has no magic power. How can she study magic? What's your real purpose in approaching her? Trantor sneers. Only you would treasure this woman. I couldn't care less. Seeing him belittle his beloved, Agus immediately loses his composure. Trantor, do you want to fight? Belle looks helplessly at the two unyielding men. Suddenly seeing Orlando passing by, Belle grabs onto this lifeline. Green, I remember over 2 months ago, some slaves and commoners joined the night training. Have they persevered? Yes, Countess, they have been persistent and want to compete for platoon and company leader positions. Trantor learns from Agus that this is a military management model created by Belle. Trantor looks incredulous. Her, a mere noblewoman, understands military management? Don't joke around. Belle immediately raises an eyebrow. Young Tower Master seems to have little faith in my abilities. Would you like to have a match with one of my knights? Trantor doesn't want to face Agus, and Belle promises as long as he doesn't use magic, she won't let Agus intervene. Trantor immediately agrees. If you lose, you'll follow me back to the magic tower and be my father's student. If I lose, I'm at your disposal. Hearing this, Mill offers to fight on behalf of the Countess. In Belle's view, Mill is still a child, but he has a tenacity that peers don't possess. Even when training leaves his body battered, he still arrives at the training ground on time every day, never slacking. Sometimes what defeats enemies isn't technique, but a person's will, so Belle doesn't stop his request. But Trantor starts to protest. Wait, you're not planning to have this little guy fight me, are you? Belle immediately becomes gleeful. As I understand, young Tower Master is also only 14 years old, the same as William. Before Trantor, who has been insulted, can speak, Agus interrupts. Are you going to fight or not? If not, hurry up and admit defeat. You're wasting my and Belle's private time. Trantor then draws his sword at Mill. Come on, don't blame me for bullying a child when you lose. Although Agus dislikes Trantor, he has to admit he's not easy to deal with. But Orlando firmly believes Mill won't lose because he has put in unimaginable effort to protect the Countess. Belle knows how hard Mill works and can't help but start hoping he wins. Agus becomes displeased. How can his beloved have another person in her heart? Belle is embraced by him, completely unable to withstand Agus's jealous pouting. Okay, I won't watch. To save time during the duel, Mill proposes that they each swing their swords at each other 3 times. Whoever's sword leaves their hand first loses. Trantor arrogantly says, fine, you go first. so I don't get accused of bullying a little guy. Mill, who has been insulted, unsheathed his sword for the attack. In the first round, Trantor not only easily defends but nearly injures Mill. Belle worries while being held even tighter by Agus. Don't worry, that boy has advantages that Trantor doesn't. Mill wipes away the scratch on his face and no longer underestimates his opponent. Although the other's skills are formidable, his weaknesses are also quite obvious. In the second round, Mill cleverly points out his weakness. While Trantor guards against it, Mill fakes a move and knocks away Trantor's sword. "You didn't attack my lower body?" Seeing his dissatisfaction, Mill calmly replies, "All's fair in war. That's what our countess taught us." Belle comes up to check Mill's injured face. Agus watches with a dark expression. "For the sake of fighting for Belle, I'll temporarily let you share Belle's tenderness." Trantor now admits defeat wholeheartedly. "I lost. I'll honor the bet. What do you want me to do?" A few days later, in the Lassam manor, Lassam Duke didn't expect that the girl he looked down upon would win a magic tower contract renewal for the Lassam family. The stepmother's earlier questioning of Belle also freezes on her face. Agus is proud of his beloved's excellence. Does father still think Belle is marrying up into the Lassam family? The era of old nobility is about to pass. Your sense of honor means nothing in front of her. "I will marry Belle Karen no matter what. Please honor your promise and consider my position as head of the family." And Belle has already led the troops to Black Bear Mountain for combat exercises. As part of Trantor's lost bet, Belle requires him to personally protect her at Black Bear Mountain. Trantor completely disbelieves the claim about treasure at Black Bear Mountain. If there were treasure, other nobles would have claimed this place long ago. How would it fall to a female count? So naive. It seems her achievements are just luck. Just arriving at Black Bear Mountain, Belle orders the knights to begin combat exercises. Regular soldiers and reserve soldiers will battle, each assigned a base according to the map. The training task is to infiltrate the opponent's base by any means, and be the first to capture the opponent's flag. Within the time limit, whoever captures the opponent's flag first wins. Trantor can't help but look at Belle differently. Whether stealing the flag or defending it, the soldier's ability to infiltrate and improvise strategies is tested. This Belle Karen is indeed clever. Seeing his interest, Belle suggests he participate too. But having lost face once, Trantor is unwilling to try again. Orlando is uneasy about Belle taking only Trantor with her, but his repeated warnings can't overcome Belle's determination. Trantor watches Belle walking in front of him, trying to figure out his father's intention in having him stay with Belle. Belle deliberately sent Orlando away to search for the mineral vein alone. Hearing movement in the bushes, Trantor immediately draws his sword. But it's just Rice Ball. Belle is surprised to find gems in Rice Ball's hands. Rice Ball has found the mineral vein. Trantor puts away his sword but harbors ill intentions. So his father had him get close to her because of the mineral vein. Then he summons a bird and whispers, "Go back and tell father that Belle Karen has found the mineral vein. Send people to Black Bear Mountain for support immediately." Then he follows Belle's pace. No wonder she brought an entire army up the mountain. It's for the mineral vein. Unfortunately, the magic tower is determined to get it. Meanwhile, at the Charlemagne headquarters, the male lead Hill is conspiring with the chairman of the Bruce Association. They've already arranged for knights to assassinate Belle. When the president asked Hill that if he killed Belle, he would have money and troops, but he might lose the love of his life, Heidi. However, Hill confidently believes Heidi will understand him. Agus, having finished family matters, quickly comes to Black Bear Mountain to find Belle. But he learns that she and Trantor have left the group. He can only follow the direction Orlando indicates and search for Belle, while reminding him to watch out for other parties during the exercise, because Agus has discovered some activity traces. By now, Rice Ball has led Belle to a pitch-black cave. Belle asks Trantor to use magic to create a flame to guide the way. This again sparks Belle's desire to learn magic. Following Trantor, Belle's thoughts drift to Agus, wondering how his home negotiations went. Until they reach a fork in the road, she's interrupted by Trantor. She hurriedly summons Rice Ball to distinguish the direction. Seeing Belle walking ahead, Trantor grips his sword tighter. This is deep in the cave. If he kills this woman now, the mineral vein will belong to the magic tower. He could say she got lost in the cave. Even Agus, one person, can't do anything against the magic tower. Belle in front confirms the direction but doesn't notice Trantor's raised sword. The next moment, a hurried Agus arrives and blocks Trantor's sword tip with his own, while Belle hasn't yet realized what happened. Agus stares coldly at Trantor. "How dare you? Today you won't leave this cave alive."